pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know we have a few members of the public who wish to come up and speak. Christina, do you have that list? Thank you. I believe Mr. Gaynor was here first, so I'll let you go first. Thank you.
Hello, Mike Mayer, 8 Cobbetts Lane. I should be able to rip through it pretty quickly. On 2/26, the board notified at the town board meeting that the community that you planned on purchasing 7 acres off of John Needham, 72 and 80 North Midway Road. And then you voted on that on 3/18 at that meeting. It was a unanimous vote to purchase that land for $3 million, $1.5 million coming from the town and $1.5 million coming from Suffolk County. I called you out on July of this year that land wasn't valued at $3 million. And in fact, there wasn't an appraisal on file for that you hadn't reviewed an appraisal for that. And I had personal knowledge that the land wasn't worth a fraction of that. As a matter of fact, if you dial into the 3/18 meeting at the 28-minute, 55-second mark, Meg talks about how the land ad nauseum is underwater, calls it a marsh. And in general, people don't build homes on marshes. And so you don't need to spend $3 million on them to protect them from being developed. The land is effectively worthless. I had my attorneys check with the county this morning. That transaction hasn't closed yet. So you voted on it on 3/18 and the transaction still hasn't closed. Is the town planning on purchasing that land still?
Yes, it's just going through the county process.
It's going through the process.
The county Parks Commission had to vote on it, and I spoke to people last week, and it should be done by the end of this month.
Do you have an appraisal now on it?
The county has the appraisal.
Have you ever seen an appraisal on it?
I have not personally seen the appraisal, but I know that it exists and what the value was.
What the value of the appraisal was? What was the value of the appraisal?
Whatever we voted on. Like, my brain is full of other things, so
It was $3 million. That's what
you say.
you saw appraisal for $3 million for that property?
I saw a report that let us know that that's what the appraised value was.
Okay, I'm going to be foiling a copy of that appraisal, and then I'll come back and we'll speak about that again. My concern is that Gordon Gooding, the chairman of the Community Preservation Fund, spearheaded that initiative to purchase that land for $3 million, and it's now worth $3 million. And so if Gordon did that, I'd like to find out why he did that, because it sounds to me like that was something that's inappropriate. Gordon's running for election right now to try and fill that board seat. And I think the community needs to know about that. That wasn't a little snafu. If it was in fact a snafu, it's a $3 million transaction. And so if he did something that he shouldn't be doing, the community needs to know about that, because he's running around talking about his achievements at the Community Preservation Fund. And if he did something that he wasn't supposed to do, like tell you guys to go buy a parcel of land for $3 million, and then you went ahead and voted on it, believing that that was accurate and it wasn't worth $3 million, the entire community needs to know about that before Gordon takes office here, if in fact he is elected for that council member seat.
There's nothing done wrong there. I spoke to the people at the Suffolk County Parks Commission last week. They have the appraisal. They would not do anything wrong. They would not have made a recommendation to go in on it with us. So I just want to just point that out, that there's no wrong.
Suffolk County didn't vote on that for Shelter Island. Suffolk County does whatever Suffolk County does. This is a home rule entity here. You guys voted on that, so somebody told you that it was worth that much money. I don't know how else to break this down for you. The town of Shelter Island can't pay $3 million for things that aren't worth $3 million. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Back in touch.
Catherine Roberts, you had your hand up next.
Good afternoon. I'm a new resident of Shelter Island, and I came here, like all of you, because I love the peace and quiet. I love the beauty of the island. And I bought a house with my daughter on One Country Club Drive. It was quiet, it was lovely, until my neighbor bought a small parcel of land across from me. I'm sorry, I don't know the address because it's not clear where the driveway is going to go. I have taken photographs and I think I gave 2 copies to Amber, which you can share. First and foremost, they have dug up the entire property. There isn't a section of the property that isn't dug up. And when you look at this photograph.
Ma'am, sorry.
Yes.
Just for people out, you have to stand at the podium so the video can
So I
capture
have
you.
to have my back to the.
Yes.
No, because you're on
Addressing
TV.
us.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. They dug up the entire property, and if you look at the top photo, if it rains, it's going to be a serious problem. They have done nothing to mitigate the enormous amount of, I guess you'd call it soil, it looks like sand to me, that's just stacked up. Secondly, I counted, they've cut down 20 trees, many of them over 12 inches in diameter. That is an environmental disaster. Trees give us shade, they give us lower temperatures, they take care of carbon dioxide a bit, and they're beautiful. And I believe, I was told by my neighbor, I don't know if this is true, that some of those trees belong to Shelter Island because they were close to the road. Thirdly, air pollution. They started cutting concrete with steel saws. The noise was horrifying. I sat in my backyard and thought, what is going on? I went out, and you will see from the third picture, there is dust everywhere. That dust came into my backyard. And lastly, it's an eyesore. And I hope that the town, at the very least, will require them to plant something around their property to protect the property itself from erosion and to protect those of us who are their neighbors from seeing this rather ugly sight. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a couple other names on the list, but I'm not sure. Raise your hand if you want to be next. Lori?
Good afternoon, everybody. Lori Beard-Raymond, here on behalf, speaking of for myself only. And I want to talk about the West Neck Water meeting that happened this past Friday, because there are a few things that were said that are troubling me. As you know, the annual water quality reports are released to customers in the spring for the previous year. So the 2023 Suffolk County Water Authority report shows nitrate levels ranging from 2.6 to 7 out of 17 tests. The current lab report from the Suffolk County Health Department for nitrates from February of 2024 show a nitrate level of 8.8. And on 4/11 shows between 4.6 for the existing wells of 4, 5, and 6 that are serving the customers currently. The 2023 Suffolk County Water Report shows PFOs and PFAs ranging in levels from a non-detect to 7 out of 13 tests. The current Suffolk County Health Department tests for 2024 show PFOs and PFA levels between 2 and 4 on the existing wells. The new wells, 5A and 6A, which are not yet online or servicing the West Neck Water customers, said that well 5A is showing no detection for PFOs and PFAs, while the new well for number 6A is showing half the current regulatory limit, according to Suffolk County Water Authority. The current regulator limit, as you know, is 10 points per trillion. So if it's half, then it's probably somewhere around 7 was what was indicated at the meeting. The EPA, as you know, has issued a new regulatory limit for PFOs and PFAs, which is supposed to be 4, unless they change it. And water suppliers have 2 years to comply by putting in filtering systems for areas that meet above that standard. I'm concerned because the discussion seemed to appear that there was no urgency in the installation of a filtering system. And I, for one, drink that water and don't want to drink it for another 2 years with these high levels of PFOs and PFAs regardless if they are under the regulatory limits or not. And that includes the nitrates. So in 2021, Bob Hausmacher, a professional engineer specializing in public water systems, did a presentation before the town board before Suffolk County Water Authority took over the management of that system. He recommended a filtration system be installed in 2021. Since then, someone removed the filtration system from the ongoing $1.7 million upgrade scope of work, and instead opted to use the money to install a larger water main in a section where the main was already replaced in 2010. In January 2022, it was stated that the filtering, if filtering needed to be added, it would be at the expense of Suffolk County Water Authority as per the 40-year agreement. Well, I'm here today. The West Neck water customers are paying a very high rate for their water, which includes, of course, the $1.7 million worth of upgrades. I, for one, don't want to drink the water with any detections of PFOs and PFAs, in addition to the alarming high levels of nitrates shown by the Suffolk County Health Department's lab tests, even if they are below the regulatory limits. So I'm asking, why am I paying rates for water that I don't want to drink? That's what I'm asking myself. Why is West Neck water any different from the center with the nitrate levels of 8.8 as per the Suffolk County Health Department testing? Why are the West Neck water customers paying for an additional $80 surcharge, which is labeled on our bills, water quality treatment charge, if we have not had any treatment? I understood from that charge was for treatment in the future. Well, I, for one, want it now. Over the past 2 years, I have sent many FOIL requests to the town for information. Many of those FOIL requests have come back, no information available. Ask Suffolk County Water Authority. It will take us 180 days to collect the information, which, by the way, I patiently waited for, and I'm still waiting because I haven't received any reply to that FOIL. Who's making decisions on behalf of West Neck water customers? Where is the oversight and by whom? Why does the town claim that they have no information, including the water quality reports? I encourage you to watch the 9/20 Friday West Neck water meeting if you have not done so already. I think those are a lot of questions that need to be answered, and it's very disturbing to me. Thank you.
Anyone else in the physical audience who wishes to speak? Lisa?
Lisa Shaw, and this is in response to the town board work session at 9:20, when the comprehensive plan was discussed and edited. So I just have some questions. No, that was the agenda.
If it has to do with comp plan, we're not taking public comments.
You're not taking public.
Because we're just discussing it at the board level, and then there will be public hearings in the future.
Okay.
So if you wish to convey anything, you can send, letter or email to the entire board, or
Sure.
request to sit down with any one of us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone in the Zoom audience?
Just came through.
Oh, okay. Come on up, Tom.
Yeah, hi. Would I like to address
You have to
today?
just state your name for the record for everyone out in Zoom land and TV land. If you could state your name for the record.
Take a half.
No, state your name for the record.
Oh, my name's Tom Ikes.
Thank you.
And what I'd like to address is the picking at the dump or lack of it. And a big reason that I'm here again is because when we collected petitions, I would say about 1/3 of the people who signed the petition for me had a personal story to tell me.
I'm just gonna pause you there for a minute. because Benjamin and I had an hour-and-a-half meeting earlier today about the picking and the recycling center and the operations. And so we are working on trying to come up with a compromise. No one will be happy with the compromise, but we are looking at making some changes. We need to brief the rest of the town board on that meeting, as well as do a site visit so we can do a walkthrough to work out what is workable and what's not. So rather than continue the discussion on asking for changes, let us come up with what we think would be a plan with
Okay.
changes and bring them back to the public.
Okay, I'd just like to add something that, the changes that are being made to the goodie pile compared to the petition, that's like comparing apples and oranges. There was no mention of the goodie pile in that petition because that wasn't what it was all about. And so all these changes that are being planned for the goodie pile have nothing at all to do with the petition about picking. And I hope you do understand that, because they're two totally different issues. And the goodie pile is not picking. And so I hope you don't confuse the two of those. And the last thing, you said you're working on a compromise. And I just want to add that I've noticed ever since that no picking went into effect, that a lot of the workers at the recycling center have a different attitude. They don't have the friendly, happy attitude they used to have. They're on edge because they're always on camera now. I counted on that way station building the other day, I walked around it. There were 17 devices just on the way station, and from my understanding, a security person came down last week to do some feasibility study on adding more security cameras. We don't want this to be like North Korea, where everything you do, you have a surveillance camera watching you. And who knows what these complicated new devices are going to do? Are they going to be microphones? And I hope you consider in your discussion that basically one or two people came up with this idea of no picking. The vast majority of the town wants it. It's part of their social life. So I hope you take that into consideration, and thank you for having a discussion on this. Because the other part of what I was going to say was it was very disheartening for me to have you as elected officials, representatives of the people, not listening to the people. And so I'm glad to hear that you're going to have some discussion on what the people want, and not just one or two people. So thank you for doing that.
We are listening.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else in Zoom? Peter?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the board for taking up the Water Advisory Committee's mission statement. I also wanted to thank Ben once again for his response to my letter. So, I know that Ben felt that I had misinterpreted his intent. I think that what's important when we take a look at the mission statement is that the Water Advisory, I'm very appreciative of the respect that Ben showed for our work and for the professionalism and long dedication of the many qualified members of the Water Advisory Committee. The one concern, or the overriding consideration that I'd like you to bring, is that at this stage of the game, after many studies have been done and quite a bit of data has been developed, we now know for certain that Shelter Island has issues with its water quality. In certain areas, it is challenged. And for that reason, it's important that we be moving toward action and not be moving toward analysis paralysis. So I think that there's certainly place to add to the mission statement the need for professional expertise and for bringing that professional expertise to the board and to the community. I think that you can make some good edits that will help in that respect. But I also would caution that you not remove all references to advice to take action, because action is needed now. Thank you.
Just while we're on that topic, we've got the two WAC. I sat in on most of the WAC meeting, but I was like not the liaison, so I wasn't taking notes and I was signing checks in the back of the room. Did the committee pick up the mission statement and discuss? No. Okay. Because that was one of the things that we had asked. So maybe, Peter, if you could put that on
Yes,
the
it
agenda.
will be put back onto the agenda. We had many agenda items, and we asked specifically for the participation of John Cronin because he had been involved in the ground and surface water management plan development along with Mike Bebon. One of the first things that the suggested edits to the mission statement does is to strike the ground and surface water management plan, which has guided the Water Advisory Committee for 5 years and the town board in its actions, and has been part of the town website for that entire time.
Thank you. As far as the public comment section, is there anyone else on Zoom who wishes to speak? Okay, then we'll move on to the agenda. And the next item was to be the WAC mission statement. So we will move that to the work session following the next WAC committee meeting.
When's the next WAC meeting? Sorry.
Let's see.
Lisa, do you know off the top of your head when the next WAC meeting is?
I don't.
Meg or
It's-
Albert? do you-
No, I don't have my date book with me.
It's gonna be October 21st.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so put it on.
Third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, so
Okay,
put it on for the 22nd.
okay. Christina, if you could just note that for me. All right, next item then is the library site plan review. So just to preface this a little bit, is we earlier this year changed our legislation so that it wasn't just businesses that had to undergo site plan review. We widened it to include not-for-profits. And the reason being, just for the public, was there are some big projects underway or coming down the pike. Froman Music Program, the library, Sylvester Manor. So it seemed right to have not-for-profits also come under site plan review because they are big projects that impact the community. However, the library was in the process of trying to move forward, pulling all of their building permits together, their DASNY funding, things of that nature. So we have been asked, and it's another, taxing entity that has asked us to try and expedite site plan review for the library. It has impacted the timing of their DASNY funding, and we want to try and make sure that we can, if possible, and I want to go through a schedule today, to keep the site plan review process moving along so that by the time the library gets their health department approvals and site plan review, that can hopefully coincide and they'll be able to get their building permit as soon as possible and be able to move ahead with their funding and breaking ground and starting construction. So with that being said, we did have a preliminary site plan review meeting to go over who would be taking on different roles. And the timeline that we're trying to go with, and I wanted to bring it up with you because in order to expedite things and move things along, it will require us going off of our town board meeting schedule of every 3 weeks and scheduling a special meeting to have the public hearing on this. So I wanted to see how the board felt about it, and we also have to make asks of the CAC and planning board in order to move ahead. So if we can come to an agreement, what we want to do today is authorize PW Grosser to start the coordinated review for SECRA. We would also today set the public hearing for October 22nd to have the public hearing. CAC meets on October 1st, and we would want them to finish up their report by October 22nd. Planning Board meets on October 8th. And we need to have the liaisons for Planning Board talk to them to see whether or not they can finish up their review by October 22nd. So it would require probably an October 8th meeting, and maybe, I know they usually like to have 2 meetings in order to do the reviews. Could they schedule an extra meeting October 15th? We don't have any other conflicting meetings that date, so, or if they could finish it in the one meeting. We've got all the sets of the plans, they've been distributed. We'd have the public hearing October 22nd, which is a Tuesday. So we'd have it as part of our work session. And then PW Grosser, if we authorize them today, can finish their coordinated review by October 25th. They could also have the secret report done by then. And then at our regular town board meeting on October 28th, we could pass the resolutions that we need to take lead agency status, which is something that DASNY needs for us to take prior to the library needing site plan review. They took lead agency and did a secret, and everything. There was nothing from their secret that gave anyone any concerns or put on hold on anything. We would also have to accept the secret report, and then we would approve site plan review, barring the public hearing not turning up turning up anything that we need to.
Can I interrupt? Excuse me. So the library did a secret review?
DASNY did.
DASNY
I
did.
guess, Terry, you could come forward to just clarify that, because in case my understanding.
So,
Terry Lucas from the library.
Mary Lucas, Chilton Library. We had proceeded based on the understanding we didn't have to do the site plan review. So we went forward from January 23 with the idea that wasn't going to happen. And we worked with DASNY. So DASNY took lead agency status, did their DASNY work, and issued an opinion that we were a type 2 under state law. But because of the site plan review and secret requirement, they have rescinded their approval of the bonds. We believe that they will go forward with this. We don't believe that that's going to be a permanent rescission, but that's where we are. So if somebody else, for the town purpose, we need secret.
So PW Grosser is going to do a secret review as well.
Yes.
Have they started that?
That's what today I was hoping we could give them authorization to start their coordinated review, because they need 30 days under coordinated review to check once again, just like DASNY did with all the other agencies, Department of Health, ourselves, to make sure that everybody's, no one wants to take lead agency.
My question is, site plan review has to be done before we even consider the site plan. It's supposed to be done.
I don't understand.
Correct, Stephen?
Well,
I don't
you
understand the
mean
question.
before we do secret? Because site plan review is a review of the site plan.
No, I mean, secret review is the first thing that has to be done. That's done, and then we start site plan review. That's the way, at my understanding, the way the law works.
I think they can be done concurrently, plus they also, I think,
I'm not trying to add delays, but I mean, the reality of
needs to have
the
the public
process.
hearing. They need to see the public hearing to incorporate it into the secret.
Right, so we have to
So
do
we
it
have to,
concurrently.
yeah, we have to do them at the same time, or else they
Right.
can't finish their process.
Also, I fully support the library project, and I don't want to add delays here, but I'd still have a problem with all of this type of work going to PW Grosser only, and that's being our only outlet. I probably never said to do. I have a couple other environmental firms I'd like for us to consider.
Okay, can't contact them if I don't have them.
Yeah. But, like I said, I'm all okay with this, but I want us to seriously and really have another option other than PW Grosser.
Okay, we can definitely look at that. I mean, we reached out a year or so ago and we put PW Grosser on retainer because they were available to do the work. They are a professional organization, their credentials
Oh,
are solid.
I'm not questioning PW Grosser at all, I'm just saying, having one option is not okay. And I'd love to stop now and look for another option, but do not want to hold up the library project.
I mean, the one thing that's nice about PW Grosser is because we have worked with them, they do understand the community, they understand, the environment here. So,
The institutional knowledge can be
yes, I was going to say, so
developed by someone else.
institutional knowledge is right.
And there are other agencies that have, or companies that have worked on Shelter Island. I think we should just have another option.
Okay,
And I will get you that tomorrow.
okay, good. Make a note. All right, any other questions on?
No, I think it sounds good.
Okay. Albert, are you good on moving forward?
Yeah, who's the, Reed is the site plan reviewer, per se?
Yes.
The Prudential,
Starts with
okay.
him. Yes.
He's the only one that we have, actually, in town.
Is there only licensed one, I think, is that?
Well,
It's not,
no.
no, the way our code is.
His role as a chief building inspector, he's the quarterback of this whole site plan procedure. So he, we had a preliminary meeting where different entities within the town were delegated certain aspects of the site plan review. They're all going to do their independent reports. All that is going to get to Reed, and then Reed's going to issue a substantive report of his recommendations on the site plan. And that'll be ready before the public hearing. We have the public hearing.
Something else I was going to say. And this is a timeline that we're trying to put out there, but as you've noticed with Pearlman, there are delays that happen. So, we're going to do our best, Terry, but it's like things come up, the unexpected may happen. There may be questions that, need to go back to, the architects or people on the library side to follow up on. Okay, so when we get to the special meeting part, we have a resolution then that we can add to set the public hearing then.
What was the date of that?
October 22nd. Right there. Community Housing Board finalizing the request for proposal.
We're going to be doing this resolution.
Yeah, we will do this, but we won't do it until we get to the end of.
Yeah, but I'm just going to include it
Yes,
in today's
yes,
meeting.
yes. Definitely, that's right.
All right.
The reason for notice.
I didn't miss something.
No.
Okay.
No, Amber prepared it for us, so.
All right.
Okay. I have gone through trying to take a step back, having looked at the RFP when it was in process with the Community Housing Board, and I am continuing to go through it with trying to take a step back and fresh eye, but I am not done looking at it because there are some things that I have questions about that I want to just take a deeper dive. I don't know if anyone else
I
had
do.
finished going through it in total.
I've been through it, but I have some questions. I want the building department to look at part of it. There's a section here that talks about the site plan for the properties, and it says, look at requirements in the town code and ask the building department. So I would rather have the building department outline exactly what is expected to be on the site plan and have that in here specifically, rather than leaving it up to someone's follow-up. So there's just a couple little things like that that I want to double check on before we move forward with it.
I had some questions. Does the town have a project manager to oversee this work? An actual somebody that's going to be on site and oversee the work?
the community housing board.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a combination of the community housing board and whoever we hire for this.
And the building
I
department.
would
will be
think we'd
doing
want
all
to
the
have somebody
inspections.
Mhm.
to really coordinate, make sure that we don't have anybody, we're not having a PM to oversee the job.
That's something that we should definitely discuss further, because it is a concern.
Yeah.
I think there's a definite need for a project like this.
Yeah.
I haven't been deeply involved with this, but I think this is like a design build outfit that they're looking for. So I think that they're going to provide the project manager, whoever is successful.
But I think there should be oversight on it.
No, without a doubt. Oh, yeah, like the town's liaison, absolutely. It's definitely not gonna be the building department. We don't have the resources.
They have their own issues with the
Exactly. Yeah.
work.
And that's actually a question, because I know at one point there used to be laws about design build for public projects and whether or not. So that was something I wanted to circle back and talk to you about.
Yeah.
No, and I raised that issue from the outset, and I'm assuming outside counsel found that it was fine to pursue it.
I think so, I just want to double check.
Okay.
So it's one of my questions.
Isn't the plan to buy plans
They have been
and
purchased,
just have them adjusted?
yes.
So it's not a design
Yeah, it's
build
not
in the
100.
strict sense of the word. You're not hiring a firm to design the thing and then build it. We're purchasing plans from the internet.
It's a little bit of a gray area, because they're gonna be tweaking the plans.
Yeah, that
You
was,
need someone to approve
that's-
any changes they make and modifications that they make in the field, any change orders, things like that. So you need someone already to.
all right, that was one of my questions. So there are plans
Yes.
that will be distributed at the RFP.
Yes.
Yeah, Liz emailed them to
Okay.
us, so it should be in her
Okay.
email.
What did I see? Environmental review will be required. I think it's South Ferry property. Has that been done?
They did all the soil testing. What kind of environmental review are you asking about?
Phase two.
Like a.
Phase 2 is done.
Phase two was done, that's all. I know a phase
Phase
one, but
one,
it,
phase
because of what was there, phase two,
Yeah.
it was done. Okay, all right.
So how do you want to proceed? Do you want to hold us over to the?
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah, continue this next meeting. Just be ready, because,
If I have anything else, I'll let you know. I won't be here next Tuesday, but.
okay.
I can have it on my calendar.
But I'll send you anything I have, but I'm sure I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, no, I just working on the budget, and just that deadline is Monday for me, so this one, something had to give. Okay. IA mandate. I will recuse myself. Yes,
and,
I have to leave. Yeah, actually. Yeah. I just need to grab another folder. I thought I had everything on this. I don't have my notes from the public hearing. So I just want to grab that.
Last time we discussed this?
It was, the public hearing was on September 16th. notes, Bob
That was the
DeLuca.
board meeting.
Yes, it was a board meeting. Bob DeLuca, Group for the East End came in and supported it. I think, additional IA systems was supported in the subwatershed plan and the ground and surface water management plan. Suffolk County is ahead of the EPA. And we had letters from Angelo as well as we spoke.
Bob DeLuca kind of countermanded Angelo's thunder about Barnstable,
Yes.
you know, and gave credit to how Suffolk County is probably the leader of the nation in what they've done with their water program, with that septic program.
Stephen, did you have any further thoughts on changes or amendments?
No, and it would sort of be, like, since the public hearing's closed, I don't think at this point, if I did have any, I can, but I think, the intent behind it is great, and it would be a novel thing that, other municipalities can model their codes after. It's, the great thing about law is if it has unintended consequences that you don't know about at this point, it could always be amended in the future. But if the goal is to get these IA systems in, which empirically is the best thing we can do to solve the nitrate problem, big stab at it.
Thing about being cutting edge is that sometimes there are unintended consequences. As long as we have our ears open to them, we can address them.
One of the things is we had, in the final draft, all new residential construction with greater than 1,500 square feet of living area, that needs to be stricken because the county says all new construction. So when this was part of our original legislation, and we were ahead of the county at the time, and then the county caught up to us.
Correct.
So if we take that out, is that just a small change?
What would the with greater than 1,500 square feet of living, just that section of it?
Yes,
Uh,
that whole line can go, because,
I think we're fine because again, we're not increasing any burden. It is the law of the land. And it was referenced, I definitely know in work sessions, unfortunately I wasn't at the public hearing. But I think.
One of the things that I was going to suggest is that we have a sit down with Reed over the conditions, the ABC, D, whatever, the listing, to see, he had expressed to me at one point that there were interpretations and loopholes in some of them, and just the language tighten up. I'd want to get his input in this, why we're redoing it, or why we're adding. I think it would be good. I think it'd be prudent.
Yeah, so.
I mean, some of them, it's kind of, they're weak, the conditions.
so you're talking about.
He's expressed that
you're talking
people have
three
found,
ABC.
yes, those, to get his opinion on those, or any redos that he may suggest.
Push us to another.
Yes, I was just about to say, then
We'd have to start from scratch.
we'd have to do another public hearing if we start to change those, because those were not, they'd be new conditions.
I had some other things too.
Mm-hmm.
One was, as you said, commercial gets added,
Mm-hmm.
not just residential, but commercial entities.
businesses are part of this? If a business or a commercial entity sold, it has to, the same would apply, the IA septic system installation will be done.
I would suggest that we go forward with this because it's a start, and then after the new year, maybe if you want to tweak this again and then add that, but just at least get this on the books, because again, you would have to start from scratch if you did not want to approve this as is.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, the commercial is definitely.
It was one other thing that I thought would be good. The last time we discussed this, now some weeks ago, Amber, you had said that one of the, that those who would be, would fall outside of the need to install the IA septic system. You had said that there was somebody that you knew that bought a house, that maybe it was their aunt or something that wasn't in the list.
Right, yes.
So to simplify it, rather than have a whole list, why don't we just put a means test? Just a means test. Affix a number and just to simplify.
Well,
I mean,
what I,
an income means test?
What's that?
An income means test?
Yeah,
So if you make less than $50,000, you don't have to do it?
something like that, yeah.
if
Rather than all these,
$1,000, you're not buying a house,
Yes, yeah.
at least not on Delta Island. What I wanted to do with that instead was discuss the WQI grant program
Exactly.
and utilize funding so that everybody still has to do it. But it's just that if you're eligible for a star, and I can't remember if it was star credit or star
That was the,
exemption. Yeah,
think it was
the star
exemption.
exemption is if you made $250,000 or less, and this was your primary residence, because that's part of the star exemption, then you could be eligible for the town grant. Because anybody who's doing this is still eligible for the state and the county grant, so there's
Right.
$20,000 there, and then if they can get the extra $12,000 from the,
but the star exemption says you're full-time residents.
yes. Yeah. So it would be your primary.
Your primary residence.
And you make 250,000 or less. I had started to talk to Judith, our town assessor, just to see, because now the state is only giving star credits. They're not doing the star exemptions for new applicants. So she was going to check, and I need to circle back to her on whether or not that information was like that. The state could still provide who was eligible for the star exemption. So if it goes through the state and we can pull that from the state, we don't have to be the ones asking for people's tax returns and things. They've already submitted it at the state level and therefore vetted. So we don't have an extra vetting process at the WQI level.
and we won't have to change legislation.
We wouldn't have to change the legislation. And it would.
Is that the star exemption? That's not part of the legislation.
No, this would be, it's not part of the legislation, it's part of our policy at the WQI level on giving grants, because right now our policy says if the IA system is mandated, we will not give a grant. And so I would like to suggest that even though this is a section that is mandated, that we build it in, that we will give it.
Let me think about this. I don't know. I think while we're doing it, I know we could slam this through, but while we're doing it, why don't we get it right or as best we can? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go back and work on it some more and then bring it back to us.
I'd like to talk to Reed
Mhm.
and see shortfalls or something in the legislation, things that, he's been having to deal with, that's all.
Okay, so we'll pick this up again
Fine with that.
next week, or do you want 2 weeks?
No, next week is fine.
Okay. I mean, you can tell Meg she can come back with.
Just again, however, I'm not here next week. You don't need me here for that.
Actually, we do.
Yes.
Because if Meg has to recuse herself, that'll be
that's right.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, if Meg
That'd be
has to
2 weeks.
recuse herself, then we don't have a quorum to discuss it.
So it's Meg's fault.
No, it's your fault. You're the one who's not gonna be here. Okay, so next, oh, we're up to comp plan.
Oh, lovely.
That's the special meeting. So, yeah, before we pick up our plan, just, you had made a comment, Benjamin, about a conflicting meeting at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we can skip it.
Here we go. Okay.
Is that what you mean? Yeah, if we aren't done by then, we can miss that meeting. It's mostly them getting information from Tom Patel and doing an update on the PSENG on what the availability of community solar would be. So they'll give us a PowerPoint about it. All right, so before we.
I did get pulled away this morning for the recycling center meeting, so we'll make our way through 10 best we can.
Yeah, we're still 9:3, I think is where we left. Yeah, surprise.
Yeah. I kind of want to jump back to 9:2, just for a quick second.
But yeah, before, I just want to like back into timetable.
Yeah.
I know that you often have a drop dead strength because of another evening meeting in New York. So what is your drop dead
Today?
time? Yes. Because we do have
4:45.
4:45, okay, because we do have to do the special meeting, which won't take that long, and then also board member reports. All right, so say 4 o'clock, we stop with comp plan. So we have time to get through the rest of
2
it.
hours, that would be good.
Okay. More time than we've had recently. Yeah. I'll be able to get there. We're on 9. Okay, so you wanted to go back to 9:2.
Yeah, just briefly, maybe. Nine two B. Okay, what did we do? What did we,
Yes,
9-2B?
yes, we made two major changes to 9-2B. The first is, we said that instead of could be strengthened, we would have it should be straightened. And also ABW is adding copy such as time of day, outdoor music with different examples.
Yeah.
After the second paragraph. So after, when certain noise generating activities might be limited, such as, and then ABW gave those examples, time of day, outdoor music. Where were the readings of the decimal was taken?
At the property line,
Right.
yeah. Good.
So those were the two changes for 9-2B.
But I was like looking, because one of our things that we're doing at the special meeting is accepting a donation from the Ambulance Foundation. So I was just texting somebody to say around 4 or 5, because somebody, people want to come in for that part.
Oh.
So did you mention, I think in the first paragraph, Albert was going to write up something?
Develop a program, I do not have that Albert was writing anything for develop a program. I had Albert writing something on page 158 at the top, promote the town's history, and cultural.
Yes.
So maybe
Okay.
that wrapped around to.
I'll get,
Okay, yeah, my
yeah,
note was
I'll
on
get
page,
that to you, Coco.
yeah, my
Yeah,
note was
so-
on page 159 in the review the approach to controlling noise disturbances.
Okay, maybe it just wrapped around and I didn't see that, but I have him just doing, promote the town's history. So you're gonna be doing another section for develop a program or for the noise disturbance?
Who's doing it? You want me to do that?
I thought you had said something. I wrote down AD to write.
Yeah,
something.
I mean,
It was just in
I
that first paragraph.
just, I was looking at it while we have the chance to do something with the noise. I mean, I'm looking at the code and it says no amplified music. No amplified music. And we have amplified music. Exceptions to that are municipally sponsored or charitable events. That it must be a registered exempt charity and must obtain approval from the town board. That's in the law now. I mean, we don't, businesses are able to operate with amplified music.
Mhm.
And it also says measured at or beyond the property line. It should be measured at the property line. 50 dBs.
Doesn't beyond mean, I mean, it depends how you interpret beyond. I think when I read it, it's at the property line or beyond, which is closer to the music, not further away from the music.
Whichever. I mean, I just think that
No, I
If
would
we-
think
I don't read it
further
that
from
way.
the music.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So it's confusing, so
Yeah.
it should be
But
clarified.
and that was what I was gonna write
well,
up.
and it's the
is-
property line of the person creating the noise or of the complainant, you know, so,
Complaint, I think.
No, it's the other way around.
but like that's
Oh.
open for, yeah.
He's an ex-cop.
No.
Yeah.
No public comment. Sorry, no public comment.
But that's the vagary of,
She has your answers.
yes.
I mean, the code says no amplified music, and yet we just let amplified music happen in residential areas. It says no amplified music.
Right, so and that's where I was putting in.
Unless it's a charity, and then they get dispensation from the town board or allowance to do that, to have amplified music at a charity event.
It doesn't specifically cover commercial properties. From the main,
All right, so I think maybe my note, I wrote the note that you were gonna write something up, but then I was gonna write up something further below, which,
I thought you were, but it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
no. I was following up, so it's on me. And I have some wording that Coco was suggesting. It takes such as time of day, use of amplified systems, place.
I mean, just looking at the law, it's pretty cut and dry, only that it says at or beyond the property line. And shouldn't it be at the property line?
So that.
Whether
we're
the
not-
distance, it
So we're
should,
not writing the code here,
Right.
we're just suggesting what they
Yeah.
should be looking at. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm going to include.
okay, all right.
and since we're changing in B, 9(2)B, that could to a should, doesn't that also point you to the title of the paragraph? Should it be control noise disturbances by strengthening the town code? I don't know. It's just, the title seems weird. Review the approach to controlling noise disturbances. Very wishy-washy.
Last time, you mentioned that you liked the equitable language that was in the original version. Is that something that we should look at?
It's strengthening.
No public comments, please. I shut Lisa down, I shut Tom down, I'm shutting you down, sorry.
Let's see, I'm trying to find the exact language.
But from the old.
Yeah,
Outline the word equitable as long as it's coupled with the word strengthen.
right, right. In this folder.
It was develop an equitable approach to controlling noise disturbances.
What is equitable?
Develop an
Equitable approach means.
Strengthening the town code about noise disturbances.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting we go back to that, I just reading what was originally there.
Equitable approach seems like, to me, that's like an accommodation of noise.
Yeah, I mean, when I read it, it's like, it's a balance between residential and commercial.
Right.
You know, I think,
Where I
What if
think,
we were to write, develop an equitable approach to controlling noise disturbances and strengthening the code? Or to
By strengthening the town code. By strengthening the town code. Works for me.
By strengthening the town code.
So backtrack, so Albert's not writing anything?
No.
Okay,
it is me.
okay. And then, Meg, where are you putting that copy?
So for
The title?
D, just for the blue letters, develop an equitable approach to controlling noise disturbances by strengthening the town code. Does that work, or is that?
Works for me.
Can you read it one more time? Develop an equitable approach.
Develop an equitable approach to controlling noise disturbances by strengthening the town noise code. Do that.
There's one other question. Does that cover both residential and commercial?
Yeah, I mean, because that would be in the revision of the code,
Yeah.
you know, it would.
the code now states it's everybody.
Right.
It's business, it's residents, it's property, whatever. It's all encompassing.
Right.
I mean, it just seems like such an easy lift. There's no amplified sound. 50 decibels is the limit, and rather than just cross out beyond, just measured at the property line. It's just,
Well, it doesn't say that there's no amplified sound. It says there's no, it says, no person shall operate, use, cause, or permit to be operated any device creating amplified sound that produces a sound level measured at or beyond the real property line of the generated property in excess of 50 dBAs. So you can have amplified sound as long as it's not louder than 50 decibels. It's not saying you can't have amplified sound.
but all,
We're not trying to write code right now.
Right,
We're just
that
trying
was-
to give direction on where.
it's an easy lift.
Yeah,
They
what
just
town board.
cross out the word beyond. That's, and
Yeah, we definitely need to address where the measurements get taken.
Right, but that's
So,
not
and I put that in here.
And we'll do that in the new copy.
correct.
Yes, yes. So we can move on to 9.3.
Line 3, what is this?
Increase government capacity, well, ensure an efficient, effective, and transparent town government. And the first one, increase government capacity for planning and implementation.
I circled the increase, basically. It's gotta be a better word.
Improve,
Okay. Improve government
Yes,
capacity.
yeah.
Increase just seems to mean hire more people.
yeah, I mean, essentially we'll have to.
Basically, it is.
We may have to, but
Basically,
maybe we can just find efficiencies within what we have.
So take out increase and put in improve?
Yes.
Really mess with, my next comment is in the second line. What did I say here? A facilities master plan is needed to assess present and future office and meeting space needs, period. Take out provide for additional. And I wrote 9.4A, which kind of says the same thing. mean, these two paragraphs
Mm.
are spookily similar.
Well, because they're both about developing a facilities master plan. So we could, like the first, so 9.3A is like a summary of goal 9.4. So it's part of the larger plan of 9.3. You could take it out of 9.3 or just make a reference to 9.4. Yeah,
What do you want to do?
actually, some of the wording that you've got, that you're putting into 3 is actually,
Yeah.
is the better
Yeah.
wording, which is in 4,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
So what if we say just list facilities master plan, see goal 9.4A?
Okay,
All right, yeah.
that's all right.
So what did you say? So we're not,
So for goal 9.3A, the first one, facilities master plan, we'll take out the paragraph and instead it'll just read, see goal 9.4A, which is develop a facilities master plan.
so are we still editing, as Ben said, take out provide for?
No, because
No,
all the
Whole
wording
thing's going away. We're just,
Oh, so you're deleting the paragraph, you're not moving the
Right.
paragraph? Okay,
Right.
thank you.
And
only thing we're
just gonna
changing is
put-
the title, sorry.
Right,
Increase to improve.
Okay, great.
That's good, because I didn't have any comments on 9.4.
excellent.
Other than the fact that it says, what about 9.3A?
Well, and that's not really a thing. Town manager.
It's not really a thing.
We're so small, it doesn't really apply to us.
Mhm.
Now, 9.3B, in the middle, it has this language about a deputy town supervisor. Isn't that you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
But it can be someone outside the board.
Most towns, the deputy town supervisor is not an elected.
or we can say that. This says we should consider creating a new administrative position, deputy town supervisor. We've already done it. Got one. So should we just say this,
Well, the change,
we
the
have
change would be,
created-
Meg would lose the title and we'd hire somebody to be deputy town supervisor.
And pay them. And create a job description.
okay. Oh, you're trying to say that what she's doing, it's not an administrative position?
Not in the way that this would be, you'd redefine the role. more.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with this concept, I'm just questioning if it's being described properly.
Well, it's tricky because technically our town is too small to have someone, a town manager role. It's usually reserved for larger municipalities. So the official town manager title doesn't really fit with our size. When you start looking at municipal regulations and stuff.
Rather than town manager, I think we should refer to the position as town administrator. Town manager is, the town administrator would be answerable to the town board. Town manager operates on their own. So I would rather see that scratched. Town administrator.
Actually.
I think just getting back to the deputy town supervisor, I think it would be a town administrator or a deputy town supervisor that is not elected. I don't think we need both.
Just the title town manager, I don't like the town manager. Just town administration, maybe town administrator, whatever. Two different positions. One is answerable to the board and the other one isn't.
I never looked at the town, New York State law on that one.
I think that's right. Mr. Kylie, any
I was
insights?
gonna say,
Um,
can you research that?
yeah, I'll research it, but at first blush, I'm thinking, it's an appointed position, so you're still answerable to the town board, but I'll confirm that.
So my quick and dirty search says that a town manager oversees day-to-day operations of the town, while a town administrator oversees the delivery of local government services. Town manager plans the town's budget and administers the adopted budget. Town administrator may assist with budget constraints. A town manager coordinates activities across multiple departments, whereas a town administrator may coordinate administrative support for other official town boards. A town manager communicates directly with the public. A town manager implements policies, procedures, and programs as directed by the town council.
I got the answer.
I was gonna it's coming from.
Town law, section 58. Now, any town may by local law establish the office of a town manager, provide for his appointment and delegate to such office such powers and duties as may be prescribed, modified, or revoked from time to time by the town board. So it's clear that it works under the auspices of the town board.
Right.
So we're leaving manager, right? Or no?
I still rather have a town administrator.
Hey, change of.
And it's actually typical upstate when they have like real part-time supervisor and town board members that they want to hire a town manager. And that's also like in villages, like they have village administrators that run the day-to-day operations that otherwise a supervisor would do. So I don't think it's really something that the town would consider.
If you can get me both the town, or all four of us, the town manager versus town administrator coming out of town law, I also want to check civil service.
I never heard of the administrator, I heard of the manager, but I don't think manager is spelled out in New York State law, but I mean,
Administrator?
Yeah,
But it's building, but it's.
but maybe. in
Yeah, I was gonna say civil
just
service may have.
because
Because I think there might be something for town administrator in civil service.
I feel like he was this answer at AOT,
That's.
just has escaped me.
Yeah. It's familiar.
Was it the newly elected official training or the,
Newly elected, I think.
okay, just, I can go back and look. Okay, to be continued. So. You need an extra pen?
I'll still get my dry in here.
Oh.
No problem, so we're good. Yeah. See.
I wanted to update if past improved record-keeping technologies and was on utilize new tools for communication and transparency. I wanted to, we have upgraded the website and we have instituted Notify Me. So I want to, and I think it was earlier, I was going to,
I was gonna change the title altogether, expand the town's use of tools for communication and transparency. They were already using some.
oh, you're on, so you got it. Oh, wait, which one are you on?
are we on this one?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna change the title to expand the town's use of tools for communication and transparency. Rather utilize new tools.
Mhm. Okay, that fits in with my wanting to rewrite
Yeah.
part of the section for what we've already implemented.
Yeah. That's page 161.
Yes.
Correct.
What's the wording on it?
Expand the town's use of
Tools.
tools.
Take out utilize new.
Was for communication and transparency?
Yes.
Okay. And then
And then I'm gonna do some rewrites to update this for what we've already done. And I feel
it
like,
was referenced somewhere else.
yes, it was referenced, so
Yeah.
they go hand in hand.
Okay.
Yeah, some of it's antiquated. I mean, that second paragraph. Explore the use of cable TV. I don't even have cable TV
I
in
don't,
my
I
house.
don't either,
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's still people who watch Channel 22.
Mhm.
Yeah. And God bless them. But there are new technologies that come into play.
Oh, yeah.
Evaluate town's IT needs, improve record keeping technology, we've kind of done that.
But yeah, just getting back to the cable TV one, was that something that the committee felt strongly about? Because I just feel like, I
It
don't
was
know,
just
it
another
seems-
method of communication with the public.
But it was like community education about historical and cultural assets, I guess the broadcasting of local events.
Right.
I don't feel like, do we really want to get into programming?
Well, that
And
was the
that's
question.
Like historical,
You know, It was one of those things where it's like, if a committee comes up with a presentation, would we run that on Channel 22? Or if the Historical Society develops their own program, is that something that we would run on Channel 22? Who would be responsible for it? Is there a way to broaden it so that it's not just these meetings on repeat day after day? You know?
There's also YouTube and there's Vimeo and there's.
Those are all things that computer literate people can use. And there's a portion of the population that is not computer savvy. And so they do rely on Channel 22. So we don't want to forget about them.
No, I'm just saying, leave that in, but you have to add the other stuff in.
Well, it's at the bottom. Zoom and other virtual meetings have also become ubiquitous, cost-effective, and easy ways to allow people to watch and participate from home. But
That's just virtual meeting. I'm talking about other sources of content.
yeah, and we have a lot of our content on YouTube, social media, but it's definitely ways to expand it.
It just needs to be updated, that's all.
Yeah, when we wrote this, we hadn't updated the town website yet, and we didn't have Notify Me and see, we're working on improving things faster than the comp plan can get approved. You know, it's a 3-year-long process. We're making strides.
I just would take out the community education about historic and cultural assets and just leave in the broadcasting of local events.
So keep in cable TV and take out community.
Get rid of community education about historical and cultural assets. And just change including to such as.
We could just say, the use of cable TV for broadcasting of local meetings and events, or just local events?
Broadcasting of local events,
Okay.
because the meeting's already there.
Yeah.
But if we could someday include some of the, sports activities at the school.
Or the school play or something,
Mhm.
things like that that people might.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can back up for a second. In this water specialist hydrologist, part-time, or a consultant on retainer. The second bullet point, plan for future water needs. Is that a role? Again, I'm wondering about the wording. I mean, that's a zoning change. Or certainly would involve that. Is this part-time hydrologist going to be, I don't know. Evaluate?
Oh, I see, it's the word plan here.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, planning for future water needs, considering population growth, climate change, and changes in land use could be an analysis of where we might encounter problems in the future.
analyze.
It's not saying, develop public water for the island. It's just saying plan for the future needs of the island. What could they be? Is it saltwater intrusion? Then we need to come up with a plan for how to handle saltwater intrusion. Is it contaminants in our drinking water? Then we need to come up with a plan for how to handle that.
I think under
Review?
specialist hydrologist,
Yeah,
maybe put another slash and put sanitarian. Wastewater.
Wastewater inspection.
I mean, we do have nitrate issues on the island.
so I've heard.
So leave plan and says.
Well, we can we consider, analyze, evaluate, plan, I don't know. It's a word. I mean, language is important, don't get me wrong, but this is not an important word.
How about evaluate future water needs then?
That's fine, yeah.
Evaluate future.
Analyze instead of plan for.
Okay.
Wait, what were you saying?
Or analyze for, but I mean, it's more than just saying, oh, hey, you're gonna have a problem, it's also coming up with solutions. If we're gonna have an expert on retainer or as a part-time employee, their job should be to help find us solutions to the problems that we're currently facing that we know we're going to be facing. So it doesn't make sense to not have them plan for future contingencies. This is a planning document for the future. I don't know why we'd take out the planning aspect.
Replace with evaluate, yeah, that's word salad. Evaluate future water needs, consider. Yeah. Not dying on that hill.
But as far as the sanitarian goes, we don't really have a place in our town structure for a sanitarian. That's the role of the Department of Health. Like Suffolk County is our town sanitarian, like they regulate all that. That's usually who we take our lead from. We don't have a health department.
I just look at, which I've said in the past, I look at Block Island, and they have a wastewater management department
Right, but that's,
that goes around and inspects everybody's wastewater.
yeah, we don't have that. We don't have that structure, that department.
No.
That would be a
Okay,
whole
could we?
new
Could we have it?
We don't need it. The health department does all that. They do inspections, they do the regulation.
They don't inspect septic systems every year.
Nobody does out here. It's not.
Block Island does.
We're not Rhode Island. They're a different state.
I realize that, but is it bad to have something like that here?
No,
I don't, I know it's Rhode Island.
okay. Sanitarian is an
Maybe it's
investigator.
another bullet point.
Well,
I mean, they put people on a pump out schedule, depending on how many people are in the house.
We can actually use that.
And they inspect everybody's system at least once a year, those systems that exist. I don't know.
the point is we'd have to develop a public health division of our town government in order to have that person be effective in any fashion. So it's not just a one-off hire who goes around and does something. We have to
No,
develop
I
an
understand.
entire
I
new
understand.
branch of government.
I mean, we do have an ever-increasing nitrate issue. I don't think it would be the worst thing. That's all. Just a consideration.
Develop a framework to monitor and measure the progress of the comprehensive plan's implementation. My question here is, do you really want to set up another committee to do this?
No, it doesn't have to be a committee, it just has to be, so one of the ideas was that it, as part of like a to-do list, when the board is looking at new legislation, they would refer to the comp plan and say, it refers to this section of the comp plan. And then it kind of keeps a tally on what's been accomplished and what hasn't been accomplished. So it's kind of a rolling review, was one idea.
So you want
it's
to take
kind
up,
of-
so you want to take up the last two sentences?
Yeah.
Town may consider, yeah, then I would just take those two sentences out.
Right, so there's two options. You can do it, it can be the town board's responsibility to do on a rolling basis, or you can do an oversight committee to make sure the town board is doing it. But I agree that having another
Latter.
committee seems like a
I
lot.
mean, former,
Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah, take out those last two sentences, okay.
I mean,
Sorry, which two statements?
Oh, sorry, the last section, develop a framework. In that second paragraph, the last two sentences, it starts with, the town may consider. Across, yeah, that's what it says. The town may consider creating, yeah, take out those last two sentences.
take out where it says, the town may consider creating a new implementation committee. So from there all the way down to the bottom. It's the last paragraph on page 162. So the very last paragraph, the last two sentences.
Oh, okay, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Just take out those last two sentences.
From the town may consider creating a new implementation committee. Take that out and all the rest of it.
I was on the table, I was still on cable TV.
Do we put something about annually or biannually review? The town board does a review, conducts, just to put something there that, I mean, the problem is these things get put on the shelf.
Yeah, I would say at the beginning of each new year, like in January, review it as
And maybe then
annual.
later in the year, budget time,
Mhm,
those 2
Yeah.
points that it's kind of built in.
yeah.
Line 5?
Hold on just a second, I want to go to the chapter 11 action agenda to see cross-referencing the timeline.
I mean, it can also be,
We were leaving it with town board, right? Not having it against plan implementation committee. Yep, but yeah, I think we should put something in,
Annual review.
yeah, annual review.
Or biannual? I don't think it would hurt, honestly.
Biannual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably time.
I mean, if we did the beginning of the year, like
Yeah, and
Meg
then right
suggested,
before
and then maybe
budget, yeah.
before budget season or something to see where we
So
stand.
every 6 months, that kind of comes out,
Something.
right?
I was thinking of beginning of the year, because then if you have any new board members coming on, then everybody's looking at it together and they're on the same page, and then before budget season, it makes sense to go over it again, that way,
Yeah.
bringing things forward. It's actually, chapter 11 doesn't have a proposed time frame in there. So full proposed time frame. It's like to be conducted biannually. I know, okay, so the last paragraph, page 162, so chapter 11 provides an action agenda as a policy implementation tool which identifies action, responsible parties, and scratch proposed timeframe to be conducted biannually.
Biannually. Okay.
We on 9.5?
I got stuck on this one because it says support cultural organizations and strengthen our sense of community. But this whole thing doesn't even mention any cultural organizations. Doesn't mention Shelter Island Historical Society, Showman, Sylvester Manor. Talks about the ambulance corps, which is a good
Yeah,
thing.
I think there used to be more and they got moved or cut, so why don't we change the title?
Okay. What's an easy way to do it?
To support our volunteer organizations, maybe?
Yes, because
Yeah.
we definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of cultural, it should be volunteer. I think we
Did you say
had
to support or just support?
just support volunteer organizations and strengthen our sense of community, instead of cultural, just take that out. I think we had other goals in here and then realized that that's not town's role, that other entities needed to take some of those things on.
Well, it's weird because in 9.6, this must be to help Island decline a less dependent community. Yeah, no, that's a different thought, sorry. But I like those 9.5 changes. 9.6, this talks about the senior citizens, of which I am almost one. But it seems to skip over kids. Aren't the young people the future of the island and all that other good stuff?
Yes, and didn't we, there's a goal somewhere in here that talks about expanding youth services as well. Let me see if it could get moved.
So for 9.6, Amber, the one change you said you were going to make was under the provide resources for mental and behavioral,
Yes,
9.6C.
yes, I have some of that, give me just a second to see if it was a replacement or. Yeah, I was adding investigate formalizing the Health and Wellness Alliance into an advisory committee to the social worker and town board.
want that here or you're bringing it over? Okay.
I was gonna say, I do feel like there was something on the
There-
news someplace.
And it might have been in the previous draft. Well, I mean, we do have for goal 9.5B, which is expand recreation department and library programming, because the library and rec department have been working just recently on shared space and stuff. But maybe we could expand recreation department activities for seniors, children, adolescents, including Head Start type program for children too young for preschool and after-school programming for pre-K through middle school. So maybe that's something that we can move, 9.5B, maybe we can move that into 9.6 and have that maybe go below the senior services.
Yeah, move it
And
to
just take
D.
out the library part of it. Expand rec department programming, because the library is not really our purview.
Yeah, the library coordinates its own activities.
Got that, Coco?
No, I was looking up here, but.
So.
Okay. So,
I'm not, why did you?
So, 9.5B, no, 9.5B.
We didn't get it either.
Scratch and library,
Okay.
in both the heading
In the heading and in the first
and in the
sentence.
first sentence. And then move it to become 9.6B.
Just as the rec department.
Mhm. I was actually talking to Bethany about some of this the other day. So she's already thinking more youth programs.
By the way, just an aside, as I'm looking and Lena's taking notes, I don't know if you all have met Lena Artiega, am I saying that properly? She is an intern that is working with us for a few weeks. She's getting college credits for her MA in public policy. So she is helping us pull together some information with the comprehensive plan and getting our archives of the whole history and what, documents and drafts and things like that. She's shadowing a few different people in different departments to learn more about how the government actually works in practice rather than what she's been learning at school. So I apologize, I should have introduced you earlier.
Hello, Lena. I was wondering, but I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Forgot who you were again yesterday.
Yeah. so-
In under, address food and security, someplace should we make reference to, be diligent in seeking assistance from federal, state, and county programs? Maybe not a big deal, but it's something that, as they are created,
Mhm.
where to put it, but.
Yeah.
On B.
Right.
I have two questions, right?
Want to attach that sentence to?
Yeah, just on one of the paragraphs, I think.
Sure, can you repeat that, Paul, over?
Be diligent in seeking assistance from federal, state, and county programs as they are created.
So go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
I was just gonna say, we could insert that sentence right after the first sentence of the paragraph. So it says, supporting and coordinating nonprofit efforts to address food insecurity on the island is essential to ensure that no one goes hungry. Being diligent in seeking assistance from federal, state, and county programs and working with groups of volunteers on the ground will help to maximize impact. Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
It's good. Going back to the top, title, what do we mean by less dependent community? Resilient, less dependent on county resources or what? I'm just not sure what we're trying to say.
I read it on, as outside of the island, like having to go off island.
Right, that's what we're, yeah, having to go outside to have your need, like, go to other communities
Okay.
in order to address the needs that we have here.
And you want to be diligent after goes hungry?
Yes.
Self-sufficient community?
Yeah. More resilient and self-sufficient community, that works, I like that. It goes positive instead of negative.
You know me, Meg, I'm very positive.
What did you say?
More
Ben?
resilient.
In the title.
In the title, what?
9-6.
9-6.
Right.
Take out less dependent at the
Okay.
end and replace that with self-sufficient.
Okay.
Also in 9-6A at the bottom of that first paragraph, volunteer-based transportation programs, do we have those?
Yeah.
What are they?
We have people who take seniors to their medical appointments.
Oh, they just like show up in their car and drive them there?
Yes, they don't just show up.
It's all coordinated, planned, scheduled, it's a process, but they have to be,
Make an appointment.
yeah.
Okay, I did
They
not
put
know that.
vetted drivers, it's.
My wife does it.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
She may be driving me soon, Albert. Human services can include support and healthcare. Many seniors prefer to age in their own homes. Expanding services can include home support. I mean, those are, doesn't matter. I mean, how are we paying for that? Home help?
Well, that could be something we can look to federal, state, and county programming for,
Yeah.
maybe coordinating with, like, I don't know if they have programs.
Mhm. Okay. Well,
And sometimes it's just being able to provide them information on who to reach out to get that kind of support. It's just being like an educational hub.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, we don't need to. It's not that important.
I mean, if it's not feasible, it just won't happen. I mean, that's the reality of the program. It's just wish lists.
I just have had personal experience with it. I think that's all I had for 9-6.
On 9-7.
Just that. Do we want to address the causes? I mean, support efforts to address tick-borne diseases and their causes? What are we doing now? Culling the deer herd.
But didn't we address that
Right, yeah, and we
Yeah,
talked about this
in an
before.
earlier chapter? And so this is just the
It's just
public
kind of-
health piece of it, I think.
Mhm.
Because some of it's also habitat management and
Yeah.
that plays into it.
Do you wanna-
This just talks about the tick-borne
Diseases.
diseases, but where was that when we talked about?
Well, if you want to support.
Deer reduction.
Address it, shouldn't you mention the causes? I don't know. Did the Deer and Tick Committee look at this? Sorry?
Yes. And part of the problem is the Deer and Tick committees kind of, their hands are sort of tied the best option for them is culling.
Yep.
But it just depends on what kind of season they have.
Mhm.
The other one that could be beneficial is habitat management in the preserve lands where people go and hike. And that's coordinating with CPF to clear underbrush or, there's ways of creating an environment that's not so tick friendly. That's another part of it.
It does become a need to reduce the herd.
Yeah, that's
You know,
always
right.
like,
And there's been a lot of dancing around calling the herd.
Exactly.
Do we just want to say it to get people used to the idea? Because that's
Fine
kind of
with
where
me.
we're going.
Yeah.
it's the most effective method, so
Yeah,
I have no problem.
Yeah.
putting it in.
it has nothing to do with the fact that I like venison.
Here it is, page 116. Monitor and control nuisance species.
In 16?
116, it talks about the deer hunting program. But it mentions the four posters, and we can't use those, so we should really just get rid of it. I would say that we still have that in. We have it, it's currently suspended.
The four-post there. To control nuisance species. That could include some of my neighbors.
What line do you want to get rid of?
We're not sure yet.
Oh,
Yeah. May not want to do anything. I would just add the title and their causes, but we could also do nothing.
What we could do is, instead of having a long description here, page 164. Right, we could refer back to goal 710 instead. I mean, this is specific to deer-borne disease, but there is. They're fine separated. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
You want to reference?
Specific to public health. Mm-hmm. Yes, I guess 710B. And it's okay if they're listed in multiple places, it's just, as long as they're not conflicting. Actually, should 710B get moved to this section? Yeah, and consolidated,
Interesting.
because.
What if it's the same language?
Right. Yeah, and 710B.
I mean, it's a redundancy that
Yeah, and it's dealing with just the public health issue of it, as opposed to monitoring, controlling nuisance species for other reasons.
Or do you just want to refer back to it?
I mean, yeah, because we could have this and just say, see goal 710 for more information on deer management and consolidate.
which 710 and reference it. Yeah, I think it should be mentioned here because we do talk about it in the text. In 9, yes. But it could definitely reference back to 7. Well, I'm almost thinking reference forward. Yeah.
Just confirm that.
Someone's going to give you a
We'll write
rewrite.
Is this an ABW? Or is this an ML?
All right, me.
APW has
I got a lot of work to do once I get that budget off to you guys.
Stephen will do it, right?
Always say no.
The deer.
The deer calling? Yes, I'll do the deer.
There's just a button in your brain, you hit that button, it says, always gonna help.
Exactly.
All right, so we're on to 10? 10.
I think so.
Ooh, 252.
I hope we get to the end of this. If we get through the end of this, I may have to come back to this next session for a few things, only because I was finishing it this morning when I got called in for the recycling center meeting. So my thoughts aren't fully together on it. My first comment, if you don't mind me going first, the summary of key findings. 1, 2, 3, in that fourth line, nitrates in the center. Should we just say in some areas?
Where are we?
166.
166.
Summary, okay.
Because my next door neighbor just tested 14.
Yes.
I
I'm
don't live in the center.
Yeah. Yeah, nitrates in some areas.
Where is that?
That's on you.
4 lines down, the line starts with nitrates. In, instead of the center, just put some areas.
In some areas, okay. Thanks.
Or what we could do is just not include locations because, let's see, we could just do water quality is an issue in some parts of the island, most notably elevated nitrate, saltwater intrusion, and spot chemical contamination from old gas stations and other sources. And just leave it like that.
That's fine.
'Cause then-
Totally fine.
Yeah,
But Coco's gonna ask you.
so we're scratching in the center, or
Right.
scratching, yeah, in the center and along the coast.
We're taking out some areas now too, or?
Yeah, killing that.
Okay, killing that, okay. Nitrates in.
We're taking out in the center after nitrate and along the coast after saltwater intrusion.
Okay.
Now, old gas stations, okay, there's Picosi's, the old one next to Vine Street. Is there another one?
There are so many that have gone by the wayside.
Right here.
I was just saying 114. And Westmoreland, there's
Yeah,
a
say
whole bunch of
Westmoreland.
them, yes, sneaky little ones from
Wow.
eons ago that
Yeah, because
sort of disappeared.
the 30 years I've been here, it's just been those two, really.
Oh, some of them are private. Yeah,
Private gas station.
yes, yes. Oh, yeah.
This is careful. What did I circle is drinking? Okay. I have this mark, okay. Securing reliable drinking water for the future will require careful management of the system made up of that. Yeah, that's what I had a problem with, careful management of a system made up of private, we can't manage private wells. So it was just a wording thing. Drinking water will require careful
Regulation?
regulation?
Or, I mean, it's not really monitoring. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know what the
it's
word is.
tricky.
It's very tricky because we can't do it really, but we
Right.
can encourage people, we can educate them, we can. I can think about a new word. We require. Oversight. I got a word?
Personas.
Well,
Review?
I mean, it's really everybody managing their own systems.
Yes,
So,
self-management.
yeah. Or careful individual management, stewardship. Stewardship would work,
Ooh, stewardship would work in place of management.
yeah.
Visual management.
I think stewardship works.
Stewardship could work, I could live with that. It does imply a little bit of control, but that's okay. Because we do have a little bit of control, right?
Yeah, and it's also, I always feel like stewardship implies a sense of
Caring.
social responsibility,
Yeah.
you know, and that's kind of really our only leverage at this point. The biggest part of our leverage.
Just further, 4 more lines down, that hyphen protecting the town's water supply, should it be islands? And the rest of this water supply issues and recommendations are largely discussed in chapter 7, which that's fine.
Yeah, islands is good.
Yeah,
Coco, you got those 2 changes?
I got the islands instead of what, towns?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
And then up above, instead of management.
Yeah, I got that.
Change it to stewardship?
Yep.
Okay.
next paragraph. Yeah, sure.
About you still on the first summary?
Mm-hmm.
All right, down, second sentence from the end. The distributed nature of both water supply and wastewater treatment makes comprehensive solutions difficult but necessary or required.
Well, a comprehensive solution would be things that,
Don't
You
say
have-
it, don't say it, Meg.
well, they would be, it would be public water and public wastewater as a comprehensive solution for the most part.
You said it.
That's why this
That's
says comprehensive solutions would be difficult, because it's not realistic to say you're gonna have public water on every part of the island. It's just not a realistic
I
or
agree.
attainable goal. You know, most people are going to have to be on private wells.
Mhm. Got a small thing in the second paragraph.
Mhm.
A shelter island is an island community. It may be more vulnerable. Pretty clear that it is.
Not necessarily.
To disruptions in power supply?
We've actually, like, in recent history, when storms have come through, we have been in a better position than other communities further up Long Island.
Yeah, there have been blackouts elsewhere. not
Yes.
here. Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's why I think,
You
like,
win.
we may be more vulnerable, but I mean,
I mean, we only have like one source. I guess two.
Well, we
There's one
have,
from the south and one from the north.
right, we
Mhm.
do get 2 feeds.
but it's more like, well,
It's more if something catastrophic happens up island that could knock out power to the east end, then we'd be in trouble, but.
So everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. We'd all be in the same boat, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
All right, never mind.
It's more that we're not generating our own power, so we're dependent on, power coming from other locations.
Investment is needed in infrastructure for communication. Do you want to mention first responders here? Fire, police?
Yeah, I think it's mentioned later in the, let me see.
Important.
Yeah,
there's a section on public safety and emergency management that brings in EMS and Red Cross.
right. Any comments on?
Yeah, the next paragraph?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. I just want to be more positive about this. There are a limited number of green energy installations. Should we lean more towards, we should be expanding the number.
There's unlimited potential?
Yeah, that's
Or-
anything but this.
What line is that?
Oh, it's the next paragraph. There are a limited number.
Page
Yeah,
167,
once it's.
the second blue rectangle.
Okay.
We're just trying to figure out what to do with it. Expand the number of green energy installations? Yeah, something a little more.
Yes, yes.
Transitioning to a more renewable energy is essential and will require participation.
Could you reference the Green Committee here,
In the text later on, it goes into the ETIP grant and what we're doing, studying how to expand our green infrastructure. So why don't we say expand green energy installations in the town?
For the top part,
Yeah.
there are opportunities to expand the number of green energy installations.
Okay.
So there are what?
There are opportunities to expand the number. That's a positive thing.
That's much more positive.
Okay.
It's essential. And then the third one, climate change.
Is creating rising temperatures.
Well, that's a good one, Albert.
of our air and surface waters.
Where are you putting in,
Sorry?
where are you putting in surface waters?
Climate change is creating rising temperatures of our air and surface waters. In more frequent droughts and potential of an increase in the number and severity of storms and flooding is predicted.
Okay, so climate change is creating rising temperatures and what?
Of our air and surface waters. And more frequent droughts. And potential of.
I don't think we need to say potential of, because this year we've had more flooding events than we have in previous years without any storms whatsoever, just like king tides that have flooded the roads and such. So I think we have a record of
all right.
increased flooding events.
And a record of.
Cinnamon tide last week was crazy.
Right?
It was nuts. I don't know if I want to make this list longer, but, you know, in the text, including private homes, coastal roads, do we want to add waterfront recreation facilities? Harbors, ferry terminals. Marina. Waterfront recreation facilities would be the marinas.
What if we
yacht
just do
clubs.
to waterfront properties? So it's including private homes, like this. Because it's not just marinas, there's some other,
Oh, that's why I said waterfront
Yeah.
recreation facilities. That would include harbors, the
Okay.
yacht club, which constantly these days.
right, okay.
Where do you wanna include that in water?
Maybe after coastal roads, comma, squeeze in another waterfront recreation facilities, comma. Then go on the harbors and the ferry terminal.
Okay.
I mean, how's the beach club doing with all this?
They're bulkheaded, so
Yeah.
I think they're okay.
You
Well,
went down
they're-
at the beach though.
Yeah, I was actually looking at them the other day. They seem all right. They haven't had a lot of erosion. I mean, I think it comes up pretty high, but they still have a beach there. I was observing from the ferry.
All right, enough of that. Yeah. Ooh, chicken scratch all over this page.
Solid waste management, there's just so much in here and just, do we need it all?
We may not.
The Brookhaven landfill is closing this year.
It was originally supposed to close this year and they pushed it,
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
so.
All right, so we
Yeah.
changed that.
yeah, 2025, but it may get pushed a little bit further. I don't know.
Well, we can just say which is scheduling to close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period.
Which is scheduling to close?
Scheduled
Okay.
to be closed, yeah,
Yeah,
Which is scheduled to be closed.
yeah.
Are we working on this
have we left?
closure? Are we addressing it?
Finding out another solution.
Yeah.
Ed Romaine is working on it.
For who is?
Ed Romaine, county exec, along with Brookhaven. There's been meetings, I think there was something that just came in, through today. supervisors aren't going to those meetings anymore, but Ken is, Commissioner of Public Works and all of the towns in Suffolk County and Nassau County are meeting to try and come up with some alternatives.
It's a big lift. It's gonna be.
It's a heavy lift.
Yeah. And there's a lot going on with, related to, because there's correspondence going up to the state, because Hochul has put some things into place where there could be additional taxing and taking some, like once Brookhaven leaves, some additional taxing that takes place, it will get pushed back down to users that could increase the cost exponentially.
Where's it gonna go?
That's part of the problem.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's talk of putting in rail to get it off of the roads, going to
Create
wherever,
like a
New
transfer
Jersey.
station.
Yeah, so I have I went to a meeting earlier in the year and didn't get a chance to see what the latest update was. But it's
It's a big problem.
a
Yeah.
huge problem.
Now, in the paragraph above that, and this comes from our meeting this morning, should we describe or at least say that the Department of Public Works Supervisor is appointed and the Highway Department Chief, what's the title again?
Highway
Ed?
superintendent.
Highway Superintendent is elected?
Yeah.
It's
Yes. it's-
certainly come up many times,
Mhm.
given the picking issues.
Mhm.
So we should just flag it. Not saying we should change it or do anything about it, but
So add
So
a
maybe-
sentence describing the two.
yeah.
I don't know which paragraph you're looking at, so I wasn't sure.
Well, in the first
The
paragraph,
very first.
Public Works.
Gotcha.
yeah, on that one, you put Department of Public Works Supervisor is an appointed position. And then the next paragraph, you just say the reverse or the flip. Highway Department.
Superintendent of Highways.
Superintendent of Highways is elected.
An elected position is responsible.
Make it clear that they're the same person or they're not always the same person.
It always has been, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And yes, we've asked the question why we don't make it just one job and then there's civil service issues. Because one's a civil service position, one's not. You can't really separate them because then one standing on its own is not an attractive job for anybody.
Also, you have the fluidity of moving workers from one area to the other, and if you had two different bosses, it could create issues. Issues between where
I asked all these
somebody's,
questions.
where someone's going to work today.
This says, updating on pollution from commercial hazardous waste is not accepted and what happens to it? That's my question. At the bottom of the first column of 168, talks about the stop program.
Yep.
Commercial hazardous waste is not accepted at the recycling center, but where's it go?
So for businesses, they have to hire someone to come and take it. So if you have large amounts of used fuel oil, there's actually a company you can hire to come and they will pump out your drums and take it away. So it's on the responsibility of the business to hire someone to come and get it.
And we don't care where it goes, we just want it gone.
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
Other piece of chicken scratch here is Local solid waste management. So we have a local solid waste management plan. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was updated in 2020,
Okay.
I believe, 2022. It's very recent. 2019.
Do we know then that Brookhaven was closing?
Mhm.
Did we in 20, okay.
Yeah,
The
it
plan,
hasn't,
it encompasses that, okay.
yes, it's been talked about for years. The new solid waste management plan actually addresses it.
And who wrote that plan?
It's a combination of highway.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
and-
because Brian Sherman worked on it last with one of the clerks down there. And I can't remember if they got some outside consulting help on it as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I read it a couple of years ago, let's see.
Yeah, I glanced through it, it's fine.
I read it when you were working on this chapter. You can't tell.
Yeah.
By 2019 to 2020.
On page 168, the second column, third full paragraph down, when talking about the town's highway department, it references 6 employees maintain and operate the
Yeah, we
facilities.
don't need that.
We can just scratch 6 employees maintain and operate the facility.
Scratch. Which.
Just the number
Oh, just the number
Number
6?
six,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like there are more people down there. But right above that, that goes on about lack of profitability, of recycling. Is that important? I mean, what drove the committee to put that in?
I don't know. I mean, there are, like it says,
Interesting.
there are
If
some
it's true.
municipalities that have,
That's right.
municipalities that have stopped accepting recyclables, but we still continue the recycling program. So, I don't know, I think it's expressing that fear that maybe we'll quit the recycling program. You can take it out.
Yeah, well, I thought it was more of a bragging thing, like
Right,
we
like
are
we keep
a
doing it
greener
even though,
community.
yeah.
I mean, great if true. Are there any of the 5 East End towns, have they stopped taking recyclables?
I'd have to ask Tim Pertel.
Yeah.
He's my recycle guru.
Yeah. Use all of our recycling. Like I said, interesting if true. I just don't know. But I wasn't sure what point it was making. If it was, we need to make this point, should we take it out?
Yeah.
Should we just
I know, I was
ignore it and
trying-
keep going?
I was trying to find where to cut and I
Yeah.
just couldn't.
I mean, we could take out that whole spot from many municipalities on, to say that we currently accept the following recyclables.
I'm thinking, yeah. I would be okay with that.
So.
C&D.
No, we're getting there, Coco.
Made it funny.
Funny, funny.
The second,
Funny, Stephen.
Many problems in the town.
the second full paragraph in column 2 on page 168.
Yeah.
It starts, the town currently accepts the following recyclables. And then aluminum cans, number 1, number 2, and number 5 plastics.
Right,
After that, it says many municipalities, you can get rid of the rest of that paragraph.
okay, get rid of
And we can kind of bump that sentence up and attach it to like the goodie pile stuff.
Okay.
So it's like goodie pile and recycling. Because then it'll go into highway.
Responsible for
Yeah. It's just, I was cross-referencing over to the recommendation section to see if taking that out impacted anything, but it's
It
okay.
should.
No, it's fine. Yeah. So 10-6 is fine. Okay.
Just the wording thing in that next paragraph, the town's highway department at the very end. It says there's some concern that the islands, as the island approaches build out. Can we just say as growth continues or development continues? Because what's build out? When are we built out?
When
Well, there is,
vacant land, yeah, there's a definition of built, yeah.
yeah, no, it's based on our zoning and the number of lots we have. You can come up with, there's an empirical number of total build out. When you can't build any more houses and.
Pretty much in chapter.
I was gonna say, I think it was.
So then we can convert Neshomek. This,
No.
Showmike's in a nature preserve.
It's in the parks program.
it's as the island, as island development continues.
We addressed build out in a different. Chapter 4, how, I was gonna say, that was in housing.
It's like there's exactly like 500 and here you go, 563 parcels that could be built. 50?
We question that, man.
There was a better statistic for that.
Take it back to my suggestion of an easier solution. As the development of the island continues. Because even if we build 10 more houses, doesn't that increase the volume at the dump? The recycling center, sorry.
Okay.
Like I said, another hill not willing to die.
No. Trying to find it, so no, it's in there somewhere.
Okay. Continues to develop. As the island continues to develop.
To be developed.
Yeah.
Where do you want that, Ben?
Well, so I think it's twofold. I think it's not just as it's developing, but then once it is built out and you have so many homes here consistently, the amount of waste they're gonna be generating on a regular basis is gonna be higher than it currently is. So. Okay, island continues to. Continues to develop.
Where's that, Matt?
168,
Yeah,
second column, second to last paragraph.
oh, instead of,
So is some concern that as the island continues to be developed. So you're scratching approach and build off.
the recycling center will run out of room.
Yes.
Now, do we want to address the pickers? We've been dancing around them, but they're in here.
I think we wait until.
Sounds good. Till we have our solution.
And can come, get a chance to bring you into the conversation and go down there and talk about proposed changes.
So that paragraph's on hold.
Yes.
We won't touch it yet.
Definitely.
We won't touch it.
We
We don't know what.
We don't have a plan, but we're working towards.
Something.
Yeah.
Safety and emergency management, protection. Did we talk about this in chapter 9? We did.
Yeah. Under the
I just want to make sure that they,
first responders.
and they make sense together.
Page 152, public safety.
Yeah, they're all mentioned here because it's part of the emergency management plan for the town.
As long as it all makes sense together, it doesn't matter if it's, it's fine. That was my chicken scratching out.
You wanna change that title or?
I'm okay. I mean, I
It's all right.
think I'm fine.
I would almost say that first sentence under public safety, the shelter and police department as described on page 152. Or is described on page 152. Also operates as the Shelter Islands emergency. I'll write something.
Okay.
I feel like most of that paragraph can be shortened. Because there's no, like,
Okay.
because we, 10 police officers, 1 full-time staff, like, the other one didn't note the part-time clerk. Oh, no, it does.
It does.
It does, but then it also encompasses the entire staff, so.
Oh, yes, what do you think? As described in chapter 9 or it's on page.
More of a question. Emergency management. This is comprehensive emergency management plan, the same as the hazard mitigation plan?
No, they're very
They're
different.
different. Okay.
We have a lot of plans.
Yeah, apparently.
We have a lot of plans.
So if there is a emergency, big problem, big storm comes, another Hurricane Bob, or even bigger. Well, do we have anything, what do we do about pets, people's cats and dogs running around?
You mean, I just had a vision of people just letting their animals out.
Oh, too soon with the cats. Too soon with the dogs and cats. We don't.
Well, I'm hoping people don't just let them run away during a storm, but you mean, do we have a shelter for them?
Yes. And I can't even keep my dog in the house now.
Yeah. We don't necessarily, but I think that if people are, if they have to come to the school or something for shelter, they can bring their pets with them. And we would come up with another space. I mean, there's enough space in the school that we can make a dog,
Yeah, I feel like.
dog chair, and a kitty corner and a.
Yeah, I do feel like it was addressed in one of the,
Should we ask Jenny?
I think it's probably in one of these emergency management plans. They're very comprehensive.
yeah, and I do feel like in training, some emergency training, that it was mentioned that something, I just don't remember what the answer was.
Okay.
We might just,
One of the things that I want to double check on page 169 is the very last paragraph. Residents are encouraged to subscribe to the local code red system. I think we're going to be changing from code red to notify me only, but I just want to double check that.
Ask a stupid question.
Mhm.
What is the code red system?
The emergency alert system.
It's on your phone.
What it
You
is?
can, I mean, you can sign up for it. Actually, maybe I've taken it off. Actually, it may not be an app on the phone. It may just be I've subscribed to it, and then when they test it, the phone starts going wild.
Oh, okay.
You go to the town website, well, it used to be, let me check.
So you have to subscribe to it?
Mhm, yeah.
Right, sunset.
Right.
What?
Sunset.
Yes, that's my
There
recollection.
used to be an app on the phone.
Yeah, and you would go to the town website, and at the bottom of the page, there was code red. So Christina, is there anything on? I'm not seeing it at the bottom of.
Yeah, I think we're trying to use Notify Me with the emergency notifications.
Yeah, I don't see it, yeah, so,
Did you want to reword that? I missed it.
yeah, I will. I just want to double check and
Okay.
see, like, when that change might happen. And if I just want to put something in, it's either changing it to Notify Me or if it's transitioning to Notify Me.
Okay.
It's the PB.
It's on the PD page. I don't have, I have something on page 171.
Okay.
170. I mean, it goes into this thing about the wire still being 12 South Ferry Road.
Mm.
Does this have anything, is this gonna,
No, we can take that out.
Hmm.
Because we've been looking into it and I don't think that infrastructure's there anymore.
it's not gonna interfere with the affordable housing?
No, because they removed.
What are you referring to, the power?
Page 170,
Right.
column 2. Let me see where we want to start deleting. Where it says to help deal with compromised power during the cable project, an island-wide emergency generator hookup was installed at the old highway facility at 12 South Ferry Road. We can keep deleting that.
Delete that whole sentence.
Yep, all the way to the bottom of that paragraph. And on page 171, under communications, I'm halfway down the first paragraph. The town negotiates a franchise fee for Optimum's cable and internet service. Scratch and internet service. It's only the cable that we get a franchise fee for.
And keep the rest of the sentence,
Mhm.
which is without any competition, okay.
Franchise fee for Optimum's cable service, just get rid of and internet.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
internet service. Oh, yeah, I guess and
Just
internet,
and
yeah.
internet.
The cable
It's without
service,
any
yeah.
competition. Okay.
Leave the word service in.
Yes.
Okay.
The bottom of that column? Is that fire station called Potato Barn? Is that what they call
That's its unofficial local title. Does it have a different?
it?
The Heights, no.
Is
It's
it
not the
fire station number
Station-
6?
Station 2.
Station 2.
Station 2.
Mhm.
at Station 2 Fire.
Fire station number 2?
You do potato barn in quotes, fire
Yeah,
station
that's
number
fine.
2,
Oh, that's fine.
because otherwise people won't know.
Yeah.
So if we do
exactly.
potato barn in quotes and then fire station number 2, add number 2 after station on Coppets Lane.
Yeah.
I think that.
My first house in Shelter Island was on Southwick. We're a little corner from this. I didn't know it was called Potato Barn. Too simple.
I feel like and expensive, so the top of column 2 on page 171, it says both cell phone and internet service are said to be slow and uneven on parts of the island, especially during the summer months, and expensive. I feel like the and expensive is just kind of randomly tossed in there. Should we just put a period after summer months?
Yes.
It's gonna cost what it's gonna cost. Your cell phone is your cell phone.
Yeah, that's fine. Even telephone service, I think it costs like $1 a month. Not full of other stuff. One 72,
Mm-hmm.
it's our favorite reference.
Mm-hmm. Just looking to see.
I just crossed it out. I mean, after that first sentence, I crossed it out down to
Main document.
chapter
Yeah,
7, yeah.
main document.
What am I crossing out?
All right, so under water supply and water
Yes.
quality, so the first sentence is fine.
Okay,
And then cross out the discussion all the way down through appendix to the main document. So that the second sentence is, chapter 7 also includes information from 2 bagging documents. Actually, you can get rid of also.
okay, so get rid of chapter 7 also?
No, chapter 7 is the
The new
sentence number 2.
Okay.
Just drop the also.
drop it also.
Four worst. It's just another information question for me.
Mhm.
Like Cards Cabins, do they have their own water system?
Yeah.
And Happy Groundhog
Yes, they do.
And King's Cabins,
and King's Cabins? Okay,
they're non-community water supplies.
okay. Oh, they're like totally private?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But because they're a non-community water system, they have a different set of rules, just like we have here.
Okay.
So it's not a public water supply, but it's not a residential supply.
Okay. I think I understand.
On page 172, in the second column, the very last sentence, the town's engineering department has studied the possibility of consolidating wastewater treatment for municipal buildings in the center. It says that study is ongoing. That's not true. So do we want to just scratch the whole sentence, or do we want to, like, and
Or was studied?
was studied, but met with opposition, therefore?
Well, it just says consolidating wastewater treatment for the municipal buildings. It doesn't say anything about where it was going or what we were doing with it, just that we're looking to figure out a way to treat municipal wastewater. So maybe we can
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess,
Do we
yeah,
want to say the town's engineering department is studying possible solutions for wastewater treatment for municipal buildings?
yes,
Something like that?
yes. Because that would be true between the facilities master plan and that grant.
The town's engineering department is studying,
Is studying
is studying, okay.
possible solutions for wastewater treatment for municipal buildings in the center.
Mhm.
That is true.
Sustainability and resilience. Pages, just looking. Anyone have any? You might be able to. 15 minutes. I'm an optimist. Anybody have notes on storm water management?
Their third paragraph, down. The town is working to eliminate all outfalls into the Peconic estuary.
Yep.
Which would allow the town to qualify for an exemption with MS4. Who's working on that?
Joe,
And the status of it?
they continue to evaluate, try and get as, many outfalls offline as possible. I don't know whether or not.
How many do we have remaining or what's the?
I mean, it may not be possible to, I don't think it is. Really do it. There are a couple of spots where it's really, really hard to find a way to capture the water upland. So,
I know the one by the town parking lot in the Bridge Street, that's a state.
yeah.
We have no control.
There's some by Buffalo Harbor that are really far.
But that's an ongoing process.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if the sentence that would qualify the town for an exemption, if that's possible.
And
No,
then
I don't think we need it. I mean, we could take those things out.
in the next paragraph, in addition to piped outfalls, what were they?
There's a couple of them. There's one by Cockles Harbor. I think all along, Shore Road, right by Crescent Beach, because there's pipes that go out onto the
Okay.
beach. It catches the stormwater from the road and it,
Right down.
there's.
All right, so we have a listing
You
of
do.
it.
There's a map of them and.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say, we have a map.
Yeah, one of these maps I couldn't.
It was one of the ones that was really tiny with all the polka dots on
I
it.
was gonna say one that we could.
Yeah, because I thought that there were lines for the out.
There are, yeah, there are.
Not after our last
It's in the
meeting, I
natural
went out and
resource.
bought a massive one.
Did you get one with the light on it? Those are really cool.
Yeah.
I have a collection of those at home. For those super tiny plans that people give you. It's on page 97. Just meant to say, yeah. It shows you where the outfalls are.
Yeah, so there's a couple at Cape Beach,
Should we refer back to that page?
see figure 9,
Yeah,
on
see
page
figure
97.
'Cause
Yeah, I think that's
no one
good.
can make that connection.
I didn't get that, what was that?
I'm gonna say, see figure 9 on page 97, but I'm just looking to see where we can add that, at the bottom of 173.
Okay.
Maybe after the first sentence. See figure. Thank you. Page
Different page in the end.
Yes, but we'll have to, that cross-referencing.
And I think that we can take out the sentence, which would allow the town to qualify for an exemption to MS.
Yes.
Since it's gonna be forever, if that ever happens.
Here's Joe.
Coco, on page one
Oh, he's
seventy-three,
there.
on the full paragraph above the last one, where it says as
Oh,
part of.
you weren't able to unmute?
No, it was locked up.
Oh, okay, now we know why you didn't answer. Okay, so did you hear the question?
No,
Okay, so we were talking about the MS4 compliance program.
yes,
And so we have in here, as part of its municipal MS4 compliance program, the town is working to eliminate all outfalls into the Peconic Estuary, which would allow the town to qualify for an exemption to MS4. Is that even possible?
It's, yes, but we will always have some relationship with MS4. That is the overarching permit that mandates SWIPs for private property. So even if we exempt ourselves from the annual reporting and we stop those outfalls, we'll still oversee those portions of the MS4 certificate, even on private property, because it happens within our municipality. But the outfall connections, the existing outfalls, are what require us to do this annual reporting. And the state administers this permit, this MS4 permit, that just changed the regulations requiring municipalities to do a lot more mapping, inspections, and maintenance. For many municipalities or larger municipalities like Brookhaven, for instance, they have thousands of outfalls and thousands of drainage systems. It's become a real burden for them. If you don't have any outfalls, you don't have to do the annual reporting. So that was a strategy that Southold is working on, and that we're working on also. We only have about a half dozen left. So we're trying to work them in on annual highway budgets to get them, converted to something that's not a direct discharge. Like all of these projects, you try to tackle the easiest ones first. The last one or two become, more complicated. So actually this budget cycle in Ken's highway budget will be some extra money for two of the tricky ones. So we can tackle those next year. And I think in the next year or two, we'll be pretty close to having all those outfalls closed. But MS4, I guess the point I'm trying to drive home, MS4 is a much larger program than just the outfalls. That's one component of what's regulated under the MS4 permit that we have as a municipality.
So we should scratch the wording, which would allow the town to qualify for an exemption to MS4.
That's correct. By eliminating the outfalls, we will be exempt from certain components of MS4, but we will be an MS4 even without the outfalls.
Forever.
Likely. Yeah, likely, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah.
What are we taking now?
So we're gonna stop at Peconic Estuary.
Right.
Yep.
And you want the last line?
Yes.
That's in, right?
Yeah, keep that.
And then I realized why I hadn't referenced C figure 9 on page 97, because a couple paragraphs above, we referenced C figure 9 in chapter 7.
It's just so good.
You guys are so good.
So good, we missed it.
Yeah, which that's why I didn't put it down.
Thanks, Joe.
Sure.
Thank you.
Climate change and sea level rise.
Yeah.
This is New York State. Is it the DEC or do we know? What is this?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple different state agencies that have kind of run reports on this. We could hang our hat on the DEC. But they also, with their own like hazard mitigation plans and stuff, they run reports.
And at the risk of making this longer than it is, it seems like interesting information for people. Do we want to attach that map?
The sea level rise map,
Yeah.
that is already included in chapter 8 somewhere. In the environmental chapter.
Oh, you can just reference it then.
Yes, exactly. Should be in the waterways, there's something about flooding and sea level rise.
Some website that shows you Shelter Island and where it'll be in 30 years, 40 years, 50 years.
I believe PEP has a whole thing. They have a whole interactive comprehensive plan that includes the flooding. It's in here somewhere.
It's not in 8.
7? I keep getting 7 and 8 mixed up. But Noah, I think, has all that too. Oh, maybe it was actually way back here.
Way back from here.
Way back. Oh, it's in. No, it's here. We cut it, but I don't think it's in there. Oh, you know what? We might have cut it because the maps were so fuzzy, and instead we did a verbal description of what was happening. Chapter 8, well, let me see. I thought it was in chapter 7.
It was in chapter 10.
In chapter
It was
10?
high flood risk area.
Right.
It was figure 18 at the time.
In
Probably
chapter
still.
10.
Turn the page.
Okay.
I say, I know I've seen this.
I was like, I didn't
know
know
I've
you
seen
that.
that.
Oh, there we
It's like,
go.
turn the page.
There's 2
I
of
know
them.
I've seen it.
Oh, 18, yeah.
Yeah, so we just didn't go.
This is the one I couldn't even read with a magnifying glass.
Right, it needs to get blown up. That was part of the issue.
And the legend is in meters, FYI.
Right.
So,
And they talk about a 1-foot rise.
Yes. There's a lot of things going on.
you want that a full page, Meg?
Yeah, we just need to revise this whole thing. I think I can find a better image.
Revise, okay.
Yeah, because the scale's wrong,
Mhm.
the colors are hard to see, and it's too small.
Let's
See.
see that logo.
Okay. Floodplain's got a big map.
That's good. High flood risk area, is that one? 19? Yeah, I
Yeah.
can read that one.
I just think the colors need to be different. The blue blends too much with the light blue background of the water.
Yeah.
So when you have the light blue 500-year floodplain, it's hard to see on the map. Maybe if you did shades of pink or something.
Sea level rise impact on shelter. What did I write here? High ground northwest side of the island, that's before the heights. And it's fine.
Gold 10-1? I said gold 10-1. Eager little bunny over here hopping through this.
Flooding fine, right here.
Grounded surface water management plan. I know, that's why I figured we just, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Rip
Just the
off the
typo.
Band-Aid.
I was gonna say.
Second to last paragraph, on 174,
Mhm.
flooding of the causeways, there are 2, aren't there?
Yeah.
Didn't we get them both fixed by the Army Corps of Engineers?
Yeah, but the first causeway still floods.
Hmm.
At the intersection of, what is that?
Oh, Ram Island Road, Ram Island Drive.
Yeah, yeah. So wait, where is it? In here? Aha.
Where, 10-1, okay.
It's a few minutes before 4.
Ooh, yeah, let's stop here, because, I can rewrite this a little bit. It's really just the first bit, the rest of it, I think it's fine.
Where are you?
10-1,
The goals and recommendations.
But we're gonna-
Pause in there.
I think we're gonna stop here for now, maybe?
Yeah, what I want to talk about is, since you're not going to be here, because I guess next week is the ETIP thing?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want us to discuss it and you give us your written comments, or we just wait until you're back to continue chapter 10? Obviously, we're not going to start chapter 11 if you're not being here.
Yeah, I would suggest you wait till I get back.
Okay.
So that would be 10,
8,
8.
yes.
Maybe we need a new sticky.
Yeah, because we've got a special meeting to do with a couple of things. And around the table reports. Thank you, Coco and Lena.
Thank you.
Thank you. Those are awesome.
Start.
Okay, special meeting or?
We're doing around the table first.
Get caught up here.
West Neck Water District Board met on Friday. And the well status, with the 2 new wells, and I guess it's well 6A and 7A plus well 4, capacity is up to 205 gallons per minute. Electric service has been upgraded. The wells and pipelines, all the mechanicals are done. Just the electric work has to be finished. And so people had noticed, there's been a lot of activity there, and it's taken a while, but, they were only going to put in 1 well, but then realized that they needed to replace the second well. So they ended up doing 2 wells, incorporated in the $1.7 million of upgrades of Suffolk County Water. We had negotiated with them. They had only planned on paying for 1 well, our West Neck Water money. Second well was paid for by them. They're working on remote reading of all of the meters for customers. And there had been talk in the May meeting to talk about what to do once the grant, the Fred Field grant of $500,000 was received, as far as changing customer rates. And that discussion did not happen on Friday because the work isn't finished, so they can't apply for reimbursement, so we can't receive the money in. So there's nothing to be done with changing the rates at the moment. Once we get once Suffolk County Water Authority gets the $500,000, they will then adjust the surcharge that we pay to them. And then when we have a hard number, I've got a guesstimate.
Is that connected to the debt?
Yes. So then the decision can be made whether or not to lower the rates to give ratepayers relief in the short term, or to keep the rates down for a longer period of time, because approximately $25,000, it actually was $27,000 last year, was used to keep the rates where they were instead of taking them up just a little bit more. So we can use that money, which is make sure I use the right number. About $140,000 available in the West Neck Water reserves to offset the rates. If we didn't have that reserve sitting in the class account, the rates that they would have been paying would have been higher. So, and since rather than just take that money and give it to Suffolk County Water to like reduce the 1.7 million, it was decided to let us hold on to it and give some better relief for however long. So that discussion needs to take place. I know there's been some talk in the community, and you might have seen some emails with respect to that. So that discussion will happen. We're waiting for the annual billing, and then we have to wait for the grant to come through. EMS also met last week. They're just, I think there's been more calls than prior years. If I was hearing the numbers right, we've got Mark Carnavogle here, who's one of the captains. Am I saying your position right? You're a captain in the EMS?
Chief.
Chief, okay, sorry. Yeah, they've received 132 EMS calls to date, 25 more calls than normal, not including fire department alarm calls. 3 new members, although we lost 1 member. They just continue to do good work. There was talk of starting a youth program again to see if they can attract some younger people to get interested in the service. And I think there's 2 people who are going to be sent for training to become EMTs. And that's getting paid for by the foundation.
That's great.
And one of our resolutions today is to accept a $100,000 check from the Ambulance Foundation to be put in the Ambulance Reserve Fund for this year. Normally it's $75,000, but the donors to the foundation have been very generous this year.
I just want to reiterate something about that, Amber, that the donated monies have paid for our ambulances.
Yes.
That no town tax dollars has been involved with the purchase of ambulances, which is really tremendous.
2 ambulances paid for so far, and we're accumulating money to the third one. Also, not in addition to, it's not only just the ambulances, but there is equipment that gets paid for periodically as well. We had like 3 special stretchers, I believe it was.
Yes.
One of which was paid from the foundation, one the town paid for, and I can't remember where the other one came from. But yeah, the foundation has been great for the town budget as well as the public. Met with civil service last week. There's a new person taking over our area. The old person, Ann Rubenstruck, will be still in the mix when we have questions, but it was an opportunity for us to just go over some things. The biggest one was when we are looking for applicants, there is a choice now for canvassing by email. So typically, especially like clerk positions, because the list is so long, we might send out 300 letters. So the hope is that as people sign up for tests, that they will choose to opt into getting notifications by email. The staff won't be sending out 300 letters. And sometimes when we've not been successful in finding somebody and we've had to adjust the salary and then recanvass the list, then it's another 300. So it's
That's expensive, and it takes so much time for them to do all the
yes, and we have to give
folding and stuffing.
yeah, and the time frame also has to allow for delivery of the mail for people, for people to receive it. So email is much quicker. And then the last thing that I wanted to go over, I made some brain dump notes on Saturday. The active shooter training that was provided by Suffolk County. There was 2 training sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Thank you to Sergeant Rando for pulling it together. It was attended by our police officers, bay constables, our EMS squad, school board members came, Dr. Drolger was there, police from Sag Harbor, East Hampton Village, Southold, Southampton, and probably a couple more. I went around and was like looking at all the badges because I'm like, where'd you come from? Where'd you come from? The training was very informative. There was a section where it was in classroom training. It was disconcerting to watch because there was actual body cam of a shooter, an active shooter down in Nashville, Tennessee. It was, fortunately, there was like no children killed on the body cam thing, but I think there were teachers and children killed then. But it was interesting to see like the goals of the training, what the protocols are, the coordination that's needed in the training. We also got to follow, so there was like, just watching them, like this is, if you've got one police officer trying to clear rooms, what they should be doing. If there's 2 police officers, if there's 3 police officers. In our situation, because we have such a small department and there's usually only 1, maybe 2 police officers on duty at a time, we'd be relying, and then maybe, sergeant or police chief, we'd be relying on 1, 2 at most, while we wait for Suffolk County, who said they would all ask to get out here as fast as possible. But we'd probably be relying on Sag Harbor, Southold, Greenport to get here to be our backup. So it was nice to have them, for the training to take place on Shelter Island for at least a few officers to see what our school looks like, and also for us to, continue to build bonds with them, because we will be relying on them. And, our Bay Constables took place because they're also, they are licensed to carry firearms, so that was helpful. But a huge thank you to the county, our police department, and EMS for participating in it. It was very good. That's all that I had.
You gonna say anything about it?
That's coming up in this special meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
There was a green options, which I could not attend because I had a funeral.
Yep.
I haven't got a chance to go back and watch the tape yet either.
Okay. So green options, we just did a quick review of the Green Expo. Everybody really liked the location. We thought it was great turnout. ETIP just continuing to collect the information they need for some of the reports they're working on. We talked about the fact that we signed up to be a climate smart community a few years ago, but haven't really done anything to work towards that goal. So they're trying to put together a plan to kind of move forward on that. We had Verdant Power reach out to us. They're a hydroelectric company, sort of. So they did hydropower in the East River, and they're looking to do some kind of project out in the East End, whether not necessarily maybe with us, but somewhere out in the Sound. So they reached out to us because we're a quirky little spot, and we have the South Ferry and the North Ferry inlets that have pretty good tidal shifts. So they were just seeing if we would be interested in talking to them. So it'll be one of those, like, we'll reach out and see what they want. Then we talked to Mark Haubner from Drawdown East End, and he was talking to us about Southold's composting program and how they have a pretty large scale program going on right now. And a lot of it's being used by farms and people who are buying into the program. And so it's another way to take waste out of our landfills and things like that. So they're looking into ways to expand maybe composting on Shelter Island, and sometimes in conjunction with Sylvester Manor, or even the landfill, depending on what the future of Brookhaven shows. So that was the green options. And then an ETIP, I kind of touched on too. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 25th, from 4 to 4:40, HUBS is doing a program at the school about drug abuse prevention, and that 4 to 4:40 p.m. is for the parents in the community, and it's kind of what you need to know, helpful tips to open conversations and to talk to your children about substance misuse. So that is an interesting program. And then on Thursday at the Presbyterian Church, the Reporter is having an informational forum. It starts at 5:30. And they're going to be discussing topics like housing and water and health and wellness. Am I missing anything else?
No, I just did get the questions yesterday.
Oh,
so
good.
I get to be one of the people on the panel, along with Liz Hanley.
Prearranged questions?
Yes, there are some, but then there's also
Okay.
questions.
Good.
Which is nice to have them provided ahead of time, so I can just take a look through them. But myself, Liz Hanley, Greg Toner from WAC/WQI, and
Nancy Green.
Nancy Green from the Health and Wellness Alliance.
Yeah, so that's Thursday,
Good.
5:30 at the Presbyterian Church. And that's what I have.
Before leaving, because I know on the agenda, I think I was responsible for accidentally deleting, because when I was formatting, I forgot to keep on the Shelter Island Historical Society noise exemption permit.
Oh, is that not on here?
We have it on as a,
No, we do, it's on the oyster card.
yes, no.
Oh,
It's for
on the
discussion.
agenda.
We didn't discuss it in a work session before putting it on for a resolution, so. Do
Oyster
you,
Fest.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, you would know the particulars because you're part of that subcommittee that looks at the applications, so if you could just brief
Let me
us.
Pull it
Sorry.
up and I can go over it with you.
Just.
So essentially what they're doing is a fundraiser. It's oysters and beverages, and it's gonna be on the Historical Society property. They're gonna use that same parking lot they've been using for the farmer's market. So it's that same setup. There's gonna be a tent, which you need to do with the tent. And there's gonna be music, and they're asking for a noise exemption. I'm just trying to find the email to see how late it goes. I don't think it goes very late.
Says 7.
Thank you. Yeah, it just goes until 7:00.
Since it's coming up this weekend, we have to do it today.
Yeah.
So I apologize for, I'm pretty sure when I was having problems, I might have, just before giving the agenda over to Christina, I think I might have accidentally deleted something.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We're there in the morning, disappear with the latest update.
Yeah.
The special meeting's the important thing.
Yes, exactly. Making sure they get approved for Saturday.
So they have a rain date of October 5th, which I don't believe has conflict with any other events. They're going to have portable toilets, trash pickup, you can use the town parking lot. There is a map showing me where everything is. It's all gonna be on their property. They're gonna have a tent up. And it's just gonna be oysters, a bar, and a silent auction as a fundraiser for the Historical Society.
Thank you for covering that. And my apologies to the public for not having it better.
What is the event?
Saturday.
Saturday.
This Saturday, yeah.
This Saturday from 4 to 7. Anybody have a problem with it?
Nope.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Any other board reports?
No.
No.
Okay, then we will. Just trying to think. No, I don't think we're gonna have an executive session for anything. So we will close the work session. I can get a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we will open the special meeting. Here's the waiver of notice for everyone to sign. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 resolutions to read.
I'll go first, why not?
Go for it. Break it up. Okay.
Whereas the Shelter Island Historical Society, 16 South Ferry Road, has filed an outdoor assembly permit to hold an oyster party for their fundraising event to be held on September 28th, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. with a rain date of October 5th, 2024. And whereas the applicant has requested an exemption from the noise ordinance, and whereas the requested documents have been submitted, now therefore be it resolved that said request is hereby approved. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Before you go to the next, on the first page of the agenda, there's one at the bottom.
Oh, I missed that one. Have to read this one too?
Flip over to Albert, or you do that, okay, good.
You want me to do this? Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the agreement between the town of Shelter Island and the County of Suffolk Office of Community Development with a contract term of September 1, 2024 through August 31, 2025 for the Community Development Block Grant. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to credit the donation funds received from the Shelter Island Ambulance Foundation, Inc. in the amount of $100,000 to the Ambulance Reserve Fund for the year of 2024. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mark, thank you very much. I know you're part of the foundation for making this happen. It's truly appreciated by the town.
Foundation would like to thank each and every
Come on up to the podium and just so that people on Zoom and Channel 22 can hear.
So the foundation, Mark Hannibal, the foundation would like to thank each and every one of you for the support you've given to the ambulance. We couldn't function without your support, financial, emotional, and the help you've given us throughout the year. We're ahead in numbers on calls. We have more people here. Simple as that. So we are successful because you all have helped us be. So we want to thank you all. And Stephen, thank you for your help too.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Whereas James Reed, Chief of Police, has requested permission to auction off the following item through municipal bids starting September 23rd, 2024 through October 4th, 2024. A 1984 24-foot privateer PVT 2440 with twin Honda outboards that includes engine 1, a 2001 Honda 130 horsepower BZBE 1201455, engine 2, 2001 Honda 130 horsepower BZBE 1201453 with 3,373 hours on it. Ray Marine C70 radar gun GPS, MAP 392 GPS, Cytex depth finder, easy load dual axle trailer. Be it resolved that said request is hereby approved. So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to execute the annual software support contract between the town of Shelter Island and the Williamson Law Book Company for accounting software for October 1, 2024 through September 30, 2025. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to expend the sum of $1,538 from the A1220.491 supervisor contracts to Williamson Law Book Company, 790 Canning Parkway, Victor, New York, 14564, for the account software support contract from October 1, 2024 to September 30, 2025. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to deposit the sum of $5,187.18 from the Village of Deering Harbor to the Shelter Island Town Police Department General Ledger Account A3120.200 for the 2024 for the reimbursement of equipment purchased for them on 7/31/2024 from All Traffic Solutions, Inc., voucher number 1,552.
So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Whereas pursuant to Shelter Island Town Code, Section 109, Joanne Rabati has submitted a site plan review application on behalf of the Shelter Island Public Library, 37 North Ferry Road, designated as tax map 700-15-2-35.1, to construct a new library addition of approximately 5,830 square feet to be added to the existing 6,290 square foot library, which will have its interiors altered and renovated. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby calls for a public hearing to be held at a special meeting on the 22nd day of October at 1 p.m. prevailing time or thereafter in the Shelter Island Town Hall for all interested persons to be heard in favor of or in opposition to the proposed application. So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, that is it for the special meeting. Entertain a motion to close the special meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, we did the same that.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, we're done.
Motion to adjourn to?
Yes, and we did, because we weren't, we did.